Hey everybody, can y'all hear me okay? I'm just waiting on the guest to join. If he didn't join, we'll go ahead and get started without him. But I wanted to go ahead and get started. I just wanted to go ahead and say hello to all of you. And I appreciate each and every one of you for showing up tonight. Basically, I want to discuss the Nephilim Giants. I want to discuss the Nephilim Giants. I want to discuss a bunch of stuff tonight. The Nephilim, the Anunnaki. Basically, I want to discuss giants in America. There's been a lot of reports throughout several years of is basically based on Nephilim giants. Now, on biblical studies, well, hold on. Before I get into that, hold on. I want to greet everybody in the chat first. So hold on, because some of y'all have been here waiting for a few minutes, and I want to go ahead and greet each and every one of you who showed up tonight and just let you know I appreciate your support so much. And I really thank all of you for coming on tonight and viewing this. Hello, Sean Man, 39. Sean Man, I thank you so much for showing up. I'm so excited to have each and every one of you here with me tonight. Hello, Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom, Carlito, Belujo. Thank you for showing up. I know you were over there in Josh's live chat tonight. I want to thank you so much for that. I appreciate you very much. And I don't know. I'm trying to see who else here. And I know it's late because I kind of started this at the last minute because my original guest tonight, he had to bow out at the last minute. Thank you, Carlito. You said great interview with PRT tonight. Um, Thank you, KC Kid. You said the 3 shows with Josh were great. So, y'all, basically, when it boils down to it, at the end of the day, when it comes down to running shows and stuff like that, every now and then you're going to run into times when guests have to reschedule for the show. You're going to run into times when there are people who, I mean, you never know when something's going to come up. I'm going to go ahead and get the show started. I don't know if Michael, he's supposed to be joining us tonight. He has a lot of information. He runs his own show as well. And I kind of got him on the show at the last minute. But for whatever reason, I don't know if some kind of emergency came up with him at the last minute. But I do want to discuss some things as far as the Nephilim and the Giants. Y'all make sure that y'all go let everybody know in the group right now that we're live. I've already posted the link in the group and but I want to get right into it. Steve Riley and y'all tonight, y'all be if my co-host or not my co-host, but my guest for tonight, who I reached out to, if he ends up not being able to make it for whatever reason, and y'all will be my co-host tonight. I want to go ahead and run this show either way, no matter what. Hey, Gerald Williams, Steve Riley, Tamara 0142. I want to thank you all for showing up. I appreciate each and every one of you. Roger Davis, thank you for showing up tonight. Casey Kidd, I just want to thank all of y'all. And so basically, what I want to do, I want to discuss a few things with y'all. I want to discuss giants. If any of you who want to call in or want to join in on the show tonight at all, let me know. You guys are more than welcome to join in. I like to at times, every now and then, for people who have different information on giants or any subject that I discuss. Every now and then I'll have guests to call in on the show just to basically kind of join in and basically say what you think about certain topics. Um, John Hinojosa, thank you so much for showing up. Rod Cleveland, thank you for showing up tonight. I appreciate you. Matthew Osborne, Brandon Torbert, thank you for showing up tonight. I appreciate all y'all. Official Sinister, thank you for showing up. And Marquetta Jones, I appreciated each and every one of you. Eric DeVries on also thank you as well for showing up tonight. So I want to get right into a few things. Hopefully Michael will join. If he doesn't, then he's still gonna at some point be a guest on the show. I don't know what has happened with him, but I want to go ahead and bring up a few things right now on this show as far as Nephilim Giants are concerned. Okay, so when it comes to Nephilim, we got different stories of whatever throughout several different cultures, several different regions of the world, whether it be out of the Bible, whether it be out of the, I don't know if the Bhagavad Gita, different cultures. Ancient Greece, and other cultures throughout the world all speak of giants, even some of the native cultures that have spoken of giants. So, what I want to bring up, and I'm going to bring up one thing real quick and kind of go right into it. I'm going to bring up a few different sources real quick to y'all because I was trying to get something together really kind of at the last minute since the original guest for tonight backed out. So, I want to bring up a few things. Okay, so in Genesis 6, and I want to pull up a particular version, but certain versions, some of them just say Genesis 6, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and after that, or some of them will say the giants were on the earth in those days and after that. So I kind of want to bring that up real quick. I think I might go to the original King James version. There's several other scriptures also that bring it up, but not just the Bible. So I don't want y'all to think I'm coming from just straight up, basically only a Christian standpoint. I'm also coming from a place of wanting to discuss it based on other literature as well. The Book of Enoch is a book, it's an extra biblical book in the Bible that goes into greater detail discussing the Nephilim and the giants. It goes into much greater detail on it. But I want to bring it up real quick, and I'm going to read that, and then I'm going to bring up some other things that I wanted to bring into the table as far as this is concerned. So, like I said, some versions say the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and some versions say that the giants were on the earth in those days. And some people believe that giants and Nephilim were completely two different things. So, for those of you who don't know, when it comes to Nephilim and when it comes to Nephilim and it comes to giants, the whole thing of the Nephilim theory, as far as how they got here, how giants got here on the earth, it was said that in the Bible that fallen, no, it didn't say angels, it said the sons of God. And in the Old Testament, the sons of God were known as the fallen angels, or the angels were known as the sons of God. Later on in the New Testament, it was the children of God, I guess the believers in Christ, who became the ones to be known as the sons of God. So in Genesis 6, chapter 4, it goes on to say there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which are of old, men of renown. So, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his hearts was only evil continually, and it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man who I have created from the face of the earth, from both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. For it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So, based on that alone, I mean, I'm going to go into other stuff here shortly. But based on that alone, when it comes down to the angels that sinned against God, there were ones, I guess, that he would put over the Garden of Eden who were supposed to be watchers. There's ones who are supposed to be watchers. They're supposed to be watching over humanity. Now, when it says that the sons of God came in to daughters of men, they basically came in and they intermingled with or had sex with human women, and then you got the result of that being giants. Now, some versions call them titans. Some of them call like the men of renown, the Nephilim, and I think I've even heard of them in some other readings as the Grigori. So when it comes down to this, and I'm going to bring this up, basically kind of discussing it on the level of talking about the giants. Now, when you look at this, people often say, and I'm going to kind of tie it into Dogman and stuff like that, and Bigfoot as well, and y'all can kind of, in the comments, tell me your theories, because I will kind of read your comments off and basically discuss some of the stuff that you guys might think that is the situation as far as this is concerned. So if we have fallen angels procreating or having sex with human women, and the intermarriage of that, or the intermingling of that with giant humans, you think about it, if you want to tie that into cryptids, you want to tie that in, you can look at this kind of in a way where you look at it and you say, okay, well, the result of, and this is just my theory, the result of a giant human, or a human and a fallen angel, or any angel, which an angel is a supernatural being. So if an angel is a supernatural being and it comes in and they have sex with a human woman, and the result of that is something that is a giant, that is supernatural, and you go into that, It also goes on to say that it repented him that he had created all of creation. It goes on, and I don't remember if I read this a few minutes ago. Yes, I did. I read it, and it was saying, from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping things and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. So, if it repented him that he had made people, animals, all of that. If you look at the result of a giant human being the result of the intermingling of human and fallen angel, then you put that together and you look at the intermingling of fallen angel and animal, then you can kind of, and this is just my theory, y'all tell me what y'all think on this. But you have dinosaurs, and they said the dinosaurs were wiped out from a great, well, it wasn't a flood. I think it was supposed to be like this huge asteroid that hit them, but then other research studies, some people believe that they were also taken out by the flood. What are y'all's thoughts on that? Y'all tell me what you think about that. And I'm going to kind of tie this in a few minutes with Bigfoot and Dogman, but I just want to know your thoughts on it. Now, first of all, the whole fact, like we have throughout all cultures throughout the world, many cultures, if you look at the Epic of Gilgamesh, I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to bring up the Greek gods. You had titans, men of renown. You had all these different beings, all these different creations that came upon the earth. And out of all these creations that came upon the earth, you had these supernatural beings. People were giving offerings to them. Now, if you look at that and you say, okay, but people were giving offerings to these beings, offerings to these creatures, then basically they're giving offerings to something that they were worshiping. And if you look at that in modern day time, then you can look at that as what we would call today gifting. A lot of people believe in gifting when it comes to Bigfoot and Dogman, and they believe that these creatures also give gifts to them. I have heard people say several times they found a stone or some rock. They found several different things given to them by these creatures. Now, I'm going to speak on that real quick, briefly. Gifting, and I'm going to ask y'all in the comments right now, what do y'all think about gifting? A lot of people feel like it's okay. It feels like some people feel like that it's okay to do this because they feel like by gifting them, it's appeasing them and it's keeping them peaceful to a certain extent. And I don't know if that's their way of feeling comfortable of going into the forest and talking with these creatures, or whatever they think it is. But gifting to me can be a bad idea, very much so, because of the fact that once you stop gifting them for whatever reason, whether you get sick or whether something else, whatever the reason may be, gifting I feel like is a bad idea. Now I'm going to go into more of what I wanted to say about Nephilim Giants. And y'all, like I said, make sure you leave a comment what you think about this. Now, we had situations as far as the giants are concerned. You remember, like in folklore, and you know how, like they say, a lot of times when it comes down to giants, you'll hear, you see these stories or different children's books and fairy tales. Jack and the Beanstalk. There's a movie that came out a few years ago called Jack the Giant Slayer, and then there was even one that came out, a Disney, I think it was a Disney movie that came out. It was called BFG. Hey, D. Robinson. So, when the main theme of these different movies when it came to giants was that they were vicious. They were basically going around and they were eating people. They were killing people. They were basically intermingling themselves with several other different creatures. They were killing everything. So when you see these children's books and these movies that came out, and these fairy tales, basically they were talking about giants that were eating people. They were talking about different things when it came to these creatures. Now, I touched on something on my interview with Josh, and I brought up something, and I'm, like I said, I'm gonna kind of tie this in together with Bigfoot and Dogman and kind of bring it all together for y'all, because it may not be a correlation for it, but I'm looking at all this and putting all these different details of what I'm discussing all together and trying to kind of come up with a common denominator, because sometimes these things are all intermingled or intertwined in. Roz Cleveland said gifting is not a good idea. Matthew Osborne said, I think gifting is a good idea. Matthew Osborne, why do you feel gifting is a good idea? And Roz Cleveland, why do you feel that gifting is not a good idea? Okay, so while y'all get ready to type that in, I'm going to go straight into another scripture real quick. And like I said, I'm not trying to push my narrative or my beliefs on anyone at all. So any of you who don't agree with this, I'm bringing up theories. And for me, everyone has a right to state their beliefs. So, going to go right on into it. And I'll come back to y'all on gifting in a few minutes. So, at one point in time, I'm going into something real quick. Hold on, y'all. Let me pull this up real fast. Okay, so at one point in the Bible, God had given the Holy Land to Moses and the people who were with him. And Moses sends spies or scouts into the land, the promised land. He given them the promised land, and basically, he told them to go over there. The people that are there, they are a men that are mighty. They're a great warring nation. But don't worry about that. I have given you this land, so don't worry about it. Go over there. You can defeat these people once you get over there. So it goes on to say that Moses sent them, which I said it was his spies, the people who were within his tribe, which were the Israelites who were with him. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan and said to them, get you up this way southward and go into the mountain and see the land and what it is, and the people that dwelleth there, wherein they may be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not, and be you of good courage. So he's telling them to be brave and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and searched the land from wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men come to Hamath. And they descended by the south and came to Hebron. So where Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmud, the children of Anak, were there. The children of Anak. Now I know before I was on a live in the chat talking, and I was asking questions, and Jack Carey was the host of that show, and Jack Carey was talking about the Anunnaki on that show, and when he mentioned the Anunnaki, I remembered like one of the things about the Anunnaki that they were giants. Now, I don't know too much about the Anunnaki, and I'm going to look into it more because I'll probably do a part 2 on this show tonight and come over this again. But the Sons of Anak, and then when you get into the etymology of different words, the origin of different words, Anak, Anunnaki, I know in that episode that Jack Carey answered my question, he said that the Sons of Anak and the Anunnaki were one and the same. Now, I'm going to go ahead and continue on to read that. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two, one upon a staff, and they brought up pomegranates and of the figs. The place was called the brook of Eshcol because of the cluster of grapes of the children of Israel cut down from thence. I'm trying to cut on down to where I want to get to the point that I'm trying to make with this. So the people that he sent over there, they said, we came into the land where thou sent us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people there are strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there, the Anunnaki. Okay, so they said they seen the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And I guess these are all tribes of the Anak. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, we are not able to go up against these people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search is a land that eats up the inhabitants. So the people who were there in this land were eating up the inhabitants, which goes back into that whole theory, which I was not just a theory, but the whole thing I was saying about them eating up the inhabitants, the giants that were there. They were great, they were mighty, they were men of renown. In Greek mythology, they called them like Zeus or Hercules, Mercury. All these were Greek gods. In the Greek, they were talking about them being Greek gods. So these are mighty men. These were giants. They eat up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak. So it's saying the Anunnaki, basically, they were giants. They were the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. So, with that being said, basically we had giants all over America, like to this day, and there's still giants all over the entire world. Um, and now, do y'all know anything? And I'm gonna ask y'all this real quick. When it comes to the giants, Roger Davis said, hold on, Roger Davis said that Anak means long necked in Hebrew. And also, I hadn't read up on that, but I do know that when it comes down to these things, there's a correlation there. And I don't know if y'all remember that TV show Ancient Aliens that came up a few years ago. When it came up, they were trying to correlate the Anunnaki, ancient aliens, the fallen angels, all that stuff. So when it comes down to it, I just wanted to bring that up for y'all. So when it comes to these giants today, do any of y'all feel like that the giants of today are the same, one and the same as the Anunnaki? And do y'all also feel like the Anunnaki or these giants are have any correlation with Bigfoot or Dogman, or do you feel like that they are Nephilim, or that there's any intermingling with that? Because I do know one thing that the Bible says is number one, there's no new thing under the sun. So if there's no new thing under the sun, and these things have, then that to me means that these things have always existed. It also goes into explaining that these things will be returning and coming on the earth again. So when you look at all this, and I'm trying to go somewhere with this, y'all. When you look at all this information that I'm presenting to you guys right now, basically you will find out that these things have always been here. Now, there's some who believe that when it comes to Dogman, that Anubis was a dogman, but there's people who also beg to differ with that. A lot of people say that Anubis was nothing more than just a depiction of what the people that were there in Egypt believed at that time. Easy Design said the Book of Enoch mentioned the Nephilim. Easy Designs, are you Richard Brown? If you are, let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you want to come on and join. I want to keep going with this, or but I want to keep going with this because either way, I'm going to discuss this tonight. I have a lot of stuff that I want to discuss. I have so many things, and I'm gonna bring up a few other. I made some notes too. I want to discuss with y'all. Easy Design, you said even King David had to deal with Dog Man. Do you want to get on this live and join? I'm gonna send you the link on your messenger, Easy Designs. I don't know if you want to join me. If you do, I would really love that because I know you got a lot of knowledge on this as well, and I want to discuss a few things with you. I've got so much to discuss. I'm gonna go here shortly into the Giant of Kandahar, because I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Giant of Kandahar. If you're not, then look it up on YouTube. Familiarize yourself with it. Steve Quayle spoke in great detail about the Giant of Kandahar. He spoke about it as well as L.A. Marzulli, and I believe that a few others as well also spoke about this, and I will go into that with y'all in a few minutes. Spoke of this in a few. Okay, Richard Brown. Richard Brown, check your messenger real quick. I'm going to send you a link so you can join me on here if you would like to. Or anybody else who wants to join, y'all can join. I'm going to let you do so. I'm going to send it to you now, Richard Brown. Hold on just a second. But what I want to say, what is, okay, Richard Brown, my email is, I'm going to put my email below real quick. Hold on. I'm going to put my email below and you can join me. I'm going to send it to you on email. But I'm going to keep going into it because I don't want to drop off. We won't probably go too long tonight because either way, I'm going to base it on y'all tonight. Whoever wants to come in, join. I'm going to keep going either way. Now, I will say the Book of Enoch brings it up too, but I want to kind of stick on one point at a time. I'm going to put my email down there in the link below, Richard Brown. Send me an email so I can send you the link to your email. All right, because Richard Brown has a lot of information too. Now, what I was going to bring up, I pulled up something for y'all just right now. I pulled up something right now. Now, I brought up the Book of Enoch a few minutes ago. Now, the Book of Enoch goes in much greater detail as far as the Nephilim are concerned and the giants and what they were doing, the fallen angels. First of all, I want to ask y'all this. Do y'all feel like that the fallen angels, or do you feel like that they could basically procreate with humans? Do y'all believe in the whole Greek stuff? Do you believe in the ancient alien theory? What do y'all think about that? Because y'all are also people who are also people who have had encounters with Dogman or Bigfoot, or you have also gotten into it and understand different things when it comes to these creatures. Do y'all think that they are Nephilim? What do you think that they are? Do you think that they're flesh and blood? And if you think that they're flesh and blood only, because there's some people who believe that they're straight up flesh and blood, nothing more, nothing to see, nothing big or major about it. What do y'all think about that? And Richard Brown, send me an email if you want to get on, and I'll send it to you there. Now, what I will say real quick is this. Now, when it comes to these Nephilim giants, I'm going to say this first before I go on to that. When it comes to these creatures, I'm not of the mind that they are straight up strictly flesh and blood, because I feel that with them being flesh and blood, there's too many other factors involved with them that makes them supernatural. And I'm going to say flesh and blood and supernatural at the same time. Y'all hold on. It's cold in here. I'm going to turn this air off real quick, and then I'm going to come right back. Hold on just a second. Y'all stay in there and keep talking. Richard Brown, check your email and send me an email back so that I can send you the link. Okay, so what I wanted to say as far as the Nephilim are concerned, one thing I wanted to bring up as far as that was concerned, as far as Steve Quayle had brought up, and I don't know if y'all are familiar with Steve Quayle from several years ago. Steve Quayle had brought up the fact that there were giants here in America. There's the Lovelock Cave incident. Steve Quayle, I'm going to read this to you, and this is about the Giant of Kandahar. And we're going to go into it, so y'all just make sure y'all keep y'all's comments, make y'all's comments below. I'm going to bring up, before I go into what happened with the Giant of Kandahar, Gerald Williams said, the real heart of all these discussions that is being missed is genetic manipulation and destruction. That is the end game to eradicate the great creation that Yahweh ever made us. Okay. Gerald Williams, I hear you on that. It's a lot to be discussed when it comes to this. You're welcome to come on the show. Anybody who wants to come on. Also, y'all, leave y'all's comments in all caps so I can read them easily. And everybody who's here tonight, make sure y'all welcome everybody as they come into the show tonight. Anybody who wants to join in, leave your comments and questions in all caps so I can address them, each one that comes in. Okay, so now the Giant of Kandahar, if y'all aren't aware of it, I'm just going to read something off to y'all real quick that I pulled up on that. Steve Quayle spoke of an occurrence which is still classified by the U.S. government in his popular radio show Coast to Coast. And I don't think that's not his radio show. I think that was George Nuri, or originally Art Bell, who created that. The events allegedly happened in 2002 in a desert part of Afghanistan when a U.S. Army squad went missing. A special ops task force, branch unknown, possibly Rangers, considering that the missing squad was Army. So there was a missing an Army squad that went out into the field, and I guess they were looking for another squad of Army soldiers who had went missing, and they had not seen them for a while. So a whole group of other soldiers were sent out by the U.S. government to go find those. So it says it was sent out to find what had happened, and the soldiers walked along a ragged mountainous trail until arriving at the entrance of a large cave. Pieces of broken U.S. military equipment and gear were scattered all around the clearing. The task force was about to enter the cave to explore its recesses when a 12 to 15-foot, red-headed, six-digit, which had 6 fingers, 6 toes, double-toothed, double rows of teeth humanoid emerged and attacked the soldiers. The giant impaled Dan with a giant spear and proceeded to attack the rest of the squad. The witness states that it took 30 seconds of continuous fire to down the giant. Between them, the squad was armed with full auto M4 carbines, recon carbines, semi-automatic, and M107 Barrett anti-material rifles firing. This much firepower concentrated on one target for 1 second, let alone 30, would be extremely destructive. According to the witness, the giant wore canvas or animal hide covers on to protect its feet like moccasins and smelled like dead bodies. The creature's body was airlifted back to the squad's base by helicopter and net. From there, it was loaded into an aircraft and taken away, never to be seen again. Upon their return, the soldiers were made to sign non-disclosure paperwork to stop the word spreading of their encounter. The witness states that he broke his silence because people have the right to know what's happening on our planet. The Giant of Kandahar, and then, so basically, what do y'all feel about this? Do y'all feel that the Giant is a real situation that really happened? Let me plug up my phone because my battery's getting low. But do y'all feel like that's a situation that actually happened? And do y'all feel like that to this day that there's still giants that are still surfacing all around the face of the earth? Because don't forget, we have several stories of Native American tribes who have also spoken of these giants who, and then some of them said they were red-headed giants. Some of them said there was red-headed giants. Some of them they said there was different giants that came about all over the face of the earth. Now, as far as Lovelock Cave, what do y'all think about that? I know I'm kind of all over the place right now, but I've got so much in my head right now as far as these giants are concerned. But I just want to know, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think that these giants still exist today? There was an episode that I came across. I don't know if it was last year. I think it was last year. And it was an episode of Sasquatch Chronicles, and there was an episode on there called Mountain Giants. On that episode, it was very interesting because on that particular episode, as far as mountain giants was concerned, people were saying that these giants still exist to this day. Hold on just a second, y'all. Let me send something out real quick. There's giants that still exist to this day. Now, I want to bring up something real quick because I want to pull up Lovelock Cave and bring up the story to y'all on that and see what you guys have to say about that. And any of you who have any input that you want to share as far as Lovelock Cave is concerned on these giants, you tell me your thoughts on that, and I will definitely get y'all right into the chat with me or on here on the live. If whoever wants to join, if you don't want to join, and y'all just make sure y'all leave y'all's comments below and let me know what you think. Gerald Williams, check your messenger. Okay, so the Lovelock Cave, and I'm gonna bring this up real quick because I really don't want to use the Wikipedia link on this. Also, y'all who are not familiar, you want to learn a whole lot more when it comes to these giants, check out stevequail.com. Steve Quail brought up one thing. He brought up a lot of things. Some of the tallest giants that were found. I think the tallest giant skeleton, and I might be wrong about this, but the tallest giant skeleton that was ever found, according to Steve Quail, or maybe I'm wrong about it. Like I said, it's been a few years since I got into it. Hold on. It's been a few years since I got into it, but he actually basically said that the tallest giant skeleton was like 32 feet tall. Do y'all feel that there are giants still to this day? Because I've heard a few. Matter of fact, on that episode, y'all check out Sasquatch Chronicles and look up the episode called Mountain Giants. When you look up the episode called Mountain Giants, when y'all check that out, please let me know what you think about that and leave it in the group. If you're not a member of the group, then please join the group and let me know what you think. Basically, that situation was very scary. Easy Designs, you said you sent the email. I don't think I've received anything. I'm still looking for that from you. Check it again. I'm gonna put it in the chat one more time. Send it again because I didn't get an email from you. All right, there's my email, Easy Designs. Go ahead and send me an email. Respond back to that so I can respond back to you on that. All right, so Lovelock Cave. I wanted to bring that up for y'all real quick. The Lovelock Cave. I'm going to bring that up real fast. And then I'm going to go into some other stuff. But while I'm pulling that up, I do want to bring one other thing up. When it came to the whole thing about David and Goliath, a lot of people don't know that Goliath had several other brothers that were way taller than him. I think one of them was like 12 feet tall. One of them was like 15 feet tall. And then you had King Og of Bashan. King Og, they said, gave the length of his bed in cubits. And I looked that up. It said his bed was like 15 feet long. So if his bed was 15 feet long, then he had to have been at least 11, 12, 13 feet tall. So basically, Bushwhacking Rooster said, yeah, it is heavy Bigfoot activity across the river from them on the public land. The mounds are actually in the city. There are several all over the state, though. Okay, so what's being said about the mounds is all across the world, the snake mounds, and I think that's in Ohio. One thing that was said about those mounds is that were giants, not just in Ohio, but like all over the world that were, I guess some of them were saying with Indian burial grounds, and some of that is, but the thing about it is that these things do actually exist, and there have been times when there's been archaeological digs and it's been covered up by the Smithsonian. Now when the oh my god, I can't talk, I'm sorry y'all. Now when the Smithsonian gets wind of anything, gets any evidence, like if y'all ever, for any reason, if somebody were out there and they were to kill a Bigfoot or dog man, a lot of y'all think that it's going to come to a place where you're going to find the body, you're going to prove by sending it in the government or calling in some secret facility or anything like that, that you're going to prove it. You're not ever going to prove it because they already know that these things exist. I brought it up on some of my shows before and brought up the fact that the government and all these secret agencies that we talk about, they know that these things exist. They already have them in some of their underground laboratories and military bases. So basically, you're not going to prove it by bringing in a body. And the reason I say that is because they don't want this stuff out. There's already proof that they know about it for the simple fact that, what case was it? In New York State and Washington State, they actually have it in their laws right now that it is illegal to kill kill a Bigfoot. Now, why would you put that into your law at all? Period. That's like saying it's illegal to kill a leprechaun. That's or gargoyle, and then we know that those things probably exist too. I have no idea at this point, knowing that Dogman and Bigfoot exist. I wouldn't put anything at all past anything that exists because these things aren't supposed to exist. Roger Davis said, my father-in-law saw the giant female in Lovelock, Nevada, in the late 30s. There's a lot more people that see some of this stuff than y'all think. So when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, y'all just have to understand there's stuff out there right now that y'all just don't even realize that exists, and we're being told a bunch of lies about it. Let me check my email real quick, y'all. I'm checking my email because Richard is trying to get in here with me, and for whatever reason, he's unable to find it. Hold on just a second. Now, okay, I found it. Oh, hold on just a second. Let me see. Oh, who is that? JW. All right, JW. Hey, how you doing? Oh, you unmute your mic. Unmute your mic.
I'm unmuted now.
Okay. So, do you want to go ahead and share? Like I'm talking about this, and I'm going join in with me tonight. Like I'm basically trying to cover stuff, and I wanted to put something together. And I usually like whenever it comes down to doing these shows, I prefer to do them and have done research and pulled up sources and stuff like that. But I kind of got it together at the last minute. I'm going to add Richard in just a few minutes to this. But what are your thoughts on what I'm discussing here as far as these giants and the Nephilim? What do you think about this, JW?
Well, I just want to tell you too, for obvious reasons, you can see I'm not on cam. I'm at work, so I don't, so just so you know, I'd love to be able to sit and say hi to everybody, but I'm at work. I kind of leave it at that. Well, basically, with this whole thing, I think one of the things that gets skipped that's either not skipped, it's probably not delved into enough, is all of this really centers around genetic manipulation. That's all. I mean, you go all the way back to the beginning, because if we think about it just logically and factually, you know, and what I believe, just like you say, everybody express their beliefs. This is what I believe, and I think, Bettina, perhaps what you believe, okay? And it in itself also goes, together as theory, but it's what I believe. In the way that when Yahweh, God, first created everything, he created everything in his own image, right? Everything was created in his own image, all the people.
Yes.
I mean, everything, everybody created. So when you divert from that in any form or fashion, it becomes an abomination, no matter which way you look at it.
Hold on,
Whether,
your audio is off. Are you talking on speaker?
uh, yeah, I am. I had the camera set up for that. Can you hear me now? Is it better or worse?
You're clearer now. Yes.
Okay, what I was saying was, in the way everything was originally created, it was created when God created man. I mean, he created everybody. He created man in his image, in his likeness. So anytime you divert from that, it becomes an abomination. And there are many stories in the Bible. One in particular, you think about Jericho. You think about some of the different things in the Bible, what we believe and what is there and is documented historically. When God would tell his people to go into a place, take it over, he went into one particular place, told them to go into, when they took Jericho, the walls and everything, whatever. And basically he just told them to kill everything in there. Now, see, that would mess with the human psyche because there's supposed women in there, children in there, all of that. And there's always been an argument, well, why would God tell him to kill these innocent women and children and stuff? But what you don't realize is those people were completely contaminated with Nephilim blood. They were not genetically human. They weren't people, as in how God created them. So God wasn't saying just wasn't saying going there and kill the original thing that I created. You were killing abominations. Now, where that would mess you up psychologically is if you walked in and you saw this child, it looks just like a child, looks just like a baby, hair, cries, everything, whatever. But in the true roots of this being genetically, it's not human. It's an abomination. And whether we have dog men or Bigfoot that are walking out here, that some of it may be spiritual, these different spirits and stuff can manipulate however it is, whether it be dimensions, frequencies, whatever, and they can become whatever you want them to become. They can become anything, whatever it is. They can manipulate the elements beyond ways we have knowledge to understand, and become whatever it is you want. They can become your dead grandmother, your great grandfather, whatever. Like you talked about that earlier on your show. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, the fact of the matter is, I'm
If you
sorry, go ahead.
have earbuds, or if you can take it off speaker because it's distorted, but if you can do that, that would be great because it's kind of coming across as choppy. But if you can do that, that would be awesome because I want to
I,
make sure that everybody hears what you're saying.
okay, yeah, it's kind of hard because I don't have it's just a mic on. I don't have where I can just put it up to my ear. I don't think I have that. I think it's just the way the program is set up is either the mic is on or off. So I'm not sure
Okay.
if it's
Put it to your ear and let's see what happens.
okay. How about that?
That's much better. Yes.
Okay, I'll just keep it up to my ear then. Sorry, folks. That wasn't my. This is the first time I've ever used StreamYard. But in the getting back to what I was saying, in the understanding of these things were manipulated by the fallen angels. The whole intent was for them to disrupt and completely contaminate God's original genetic makeup of the original man, because they knew there was a savior that was coming through the line. Again, for those who believe that, that's my belief. I stand on as someone who truly believes in Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and then in the Bible, that was the line that genetically that the savior was going to come through. And we know as Jesus Christ. So part of it was just completely annihilating that genetic line to keep the savior from coming through the line, which is still pretty much the same thing. Because if to be able to contaminate the whole genetic line of humans would keep anything that reflects God's glory from existing in the earth. That's the whole intent of all of this. So Bigfoots, they making laws not to kill the Bigfoots. Now, I'm not going to go out and try to look for no dog man or Bigfoot or stuff like that, whatever. But when we get our mindsets to realize that these things really,
You cut out JW. And Richard, I tried to send it to you. It wouldn't allow me to send it. I know you said that you're not on Messenger, but since you're not on Messenger, I don't know how he was able to get on here because I didn't send him the link. So I hold on. And I'm probably going to cut it off in about an hour. I have a lot more I want to actually talk about. Richard, I'm going to try to send it to your Facebook page. I'm going to try to send it to your Facebook page because I don't know how to send it to you. You say you're not on Messenger. I'm going to try.
Yeah, you still there?
Yes, James. JW, how did you get on here? Like, because I didn't send you the
I
link.
just I went from the link that you sent me and got on, and I had to do a couple settings to open my mic and my cam, and I'm on Android. I'm not sure if that makes a difference.
You went on the link that I shared in the group, or the one I sent you on Messenger?
The one
Did I
you sent
send
me
it?
on Messenger. The one you sent me on
Okay.
Messenger.
For the show?
No, the one you sent me. You said check your message, your messenger for
Okay.
StreamYard, and I went through that one.
Got you. So he's not on Messenger. I tried to send it to him on email. For whatever reason, it wouldn't allow me to do it. So I don't know what to tell you. Basically, JW, you go ahead and continue on because I'm going to cover some other topics in a few minutes, and I will ask you. Y'all keep listening in because we're going to cover other stuff. And for those of you who are not Christian or of the Christian belief, I'm not trying to like push my belief or my theories on any of this stuff on you guys, but I'm just trying to show y'all that there's a correlation between a lot of these things, and people don't even realize what it is. So, can you just continue on with what you're saying, and then we're going to go right into some sources that I pulled up on this topic.
Okay, and as long as my audio is okay, I don't want to be labored if it's not going to get through because I know that's irritating when you're listening and can't really understand what's going on. So anytime that disrupts whatever be, just let me know.
It's
Um,
perfect right now.
okay, so and I want to piggyback off of what you just said. In terms of pushing anything, if something turns out to be true, you don't have to push it on anybody. So being able to believe in the Bible and all this stuff, that's something that, I believe, and I think I can speak for B as well. Leave that up to you. But our intent is not to be able to shove anything down your throat and make you believe anything, but again, to be able to make the correlation between what we're seeing and some of the historically documented stuff from the Bible that runs in line with this. And even if you choose even not to believe the Bible, you can't dismiss yourself from the fact that some of the stuff in the Bible lines up and gives a lot of light to what we're looking at and discussing right now, and what we're seeing and experiencing in this age and time. But in what I was saying about the genetic manipulation, that's pretty much the line of it, because the end game at some point, and I don't want to get too deep into this. I mean, at some point you can expound upon it if you like to be, but the end game at some point is going to be able to have somebody that is going to be genetically superior, quote unquote, and
Mm-hmm.
that the new age is going to usher in being able to be smarter, faster, not get sick, not basically promising people eternal life in the way that God does through the eternal salvation through His Son, but doing it in the way, obviously, that would be the deceptive and the counterfeit way, so to speak. The new age of being able to be smarter, thinking of stuff. I mean, they're already doing it now with wanting to be able to implant computers in your mind when you don't even have to dial numbers for cell phones, or you can actually in your mind actually access Google. You want to find out what the actual measurement is for the Nile. In your mind, you just think it up and Google will give it to you, and it'll be interfaced right into your brain, literally right into your brain. And so this whole thing with trying to create a superior person that is better than everything you've seen, so you can actually say, well, we are the real, they'll come down and say, we are the real ones that truly created you, and we're the ones that did this. And then some guy will come and say, well, I am truly the savior. If you want to be just like me, you take my genetic material and be reborn into my kingdom, like it would count the same thing. We think about the story of salvation in the Bible, same thing. And that's the whole thing, to get everybody into believing that somehow you're going to be superior genetically. And that's what you're seeing when you look at all these cryptids. These are creatures that have been around for thousands of years. Some of it is manipulation by man, but the origin of it has been the manipulation by the fallen angels and messing with the genome. That's all they've been doing. And some of them have been here. There are caverns and places down the earth they don't know about. Heck, you can go right to Kentucky, and they're feral humans. These humans may be part animal, whatever. They've never ever interacted with normal people. I've seen a weird video, and you may have to look this up, B, where a guy, it was a phone video, a video he took with his phone when they pulled up on the side of the road, and this guy was just standing there. Like he had on jeans. It was a Caucasian guy, white guy, had on no shirt. He was kind of standing off, kind of like in the brush. and they were asking him if he's okay. This guy goes down on all fours and starts to crawl through the brush up to the road where they were. I mean, he looked like an animal, his bones and everything, and they just took off. I mean, very
Yeah.
weird.
Are you talking now? This is and Richard's going to join us in just a minute. He's backstage right now, and I'm going to bring him on. And Richard has a lot of knowledge into this. Now, I think I've seen that video. Somebody shared in the group within the last few weeks or so. Marquetta says she remembers that video. Now, if you remember on that video, some of the people were saying in the comments, is this a skinwalker? Or they made a joke out of it. Is this a skinwalker, or is this just somebody hype off of, what did they say? Acid, or what was the new drug that came out right now? Was it meth? Something like that. But
Hmm.
it could be either or. But that guy, he didn't even have the ability at that moment, whether he was demon possessed or whatever he was, that he didn't have the ability at that moment to speak to them with human speech. It was
Right,
like more of a garbled, growling. Dark Woods
right,
said meth. Dark Woods knows the video. That
right.
guy, but when he came up there, he came up to them like in a spider crawl. That was
Exactly.
creepy.
Very weird.
Now, very weird. Now, I'm going to bring Richard on in just a second because I want to continue to discuss, and I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. But Gerald, I'm going to add him on real quick, and I'm going to allow you to keep talking and telling your thoughts on this. And I'm going to just welcome Richard on real quick. Hey, Richard, thank you for joining us on the
Hey,
stream tonight.
good night, good night. How is everybody?
I'm good. I'm going to have you to talk in just a second. I'm going to let Gerald go ahead and continue to talk real quick.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'm going to bring you back on here. I'm not going to take you off the stream, but I'm going to let him talk real fast. And then I'm going to ask you some questions. All right,
Yeah, that.
Gerald.
Yeah, just finishing in that upbeat. What I wanted to say, I'm gonna give so Richard can have his time. It's just it really is about genetic manipulation. That's the biggest thing, and one of the things of my concerns, and I've talked to you about that before, is that when we start dwelling to this kind of subject matter, you start capturing the attention of people. You can talk about all the other stuff, but when you get to the heart, of what this is really about, it's gonna start to draw attention from some really interesting places. Weird things start to happen because this is weird. That's really what it's all about. It's about the genetic manipulation and really watering down the human genomes to become more not just more animal-like but more manipulative, more malleable, where now you don't have freedom of thought and speech and stuff. You're almost more programmed, you know what I mean? So whatever these things are, we see the physical fleshly ones, whether it be dog man, whatever, whatever the different things you want to name,
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely a fleshly component to them. These things are real, they do exist without a doubt. Now the key is knowing, you know they've been here for a while, but what is going to be their implications as time goes on? If for the physical ones, we're tearing down more land, building more stuff, so you got, like any animal, you're going to run into them more now because you're taking away their ability to be able to stay incognito, you know what I mean? So it's going to be
Absolutely.
more and yeah, more and more cloaking stuff. Where does that come from? I mean, is it something that's supernatural? Is it something they put in a lab? I mean, what is this? Cloaking is not anything new. You were talking about your friend that you said somebody was talking about, somebody knew a guy from India or something, whatever, and they can go
Mm-hmm.
back and show you thousands and thousands of years back. They had the flying, what they call Veronas. They had flying machines way back in
Yeah.
these centuries way
Absolutely.
back. Yeah, there's nothing new under the sun. We're just coming into the actual where we're at now is the revelation of seeing it for ourselves now in this age. But there's technology they had back from the Egyptian times that these so-called smart men now they can't even figure it out. That's how sophisticated it was. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of being able
Absolutely.
to, yeah, to be able to actually get a good correlation and get an understanding of it. But I think again, this is all going to be about genetic manipulation. I mean, they try to. I think some of it now we're kind of in that. I don't want to say Hollywood, almost like that kind of thing where seeing werewolves, stuff like that, whatever. But we got to look beyond that because there's something way beyond this. A reason why they not just exist, but what is going on with their existence. These things are not just here after thousands of years just to be here, but knowing that these people, when you say people in the higher places, they know these things are here and they're part of, fill in the blank, and knowing that these things are here. So as time goes on, I think it's going to be more than just information that we'll be learning. There'll be more and more close contact, and I just can't wait to see the first video that literally comes out that they're not going to be able to stop. That's going to be clear 4K. There's not going to be no is this real? Is it no? It's going to be clear cut without a doubt. And from there, What do? Soft disclosure? Do you can't, you got 30 million people looking at it and seeing it. You can't say it was just a lie. I mean, sitting right there, it's clear as day. And we're almost to that point. Any day now, it's going to be any day now. Somebody's going to catch something and see it. The guy down in Florida, that was close. That was a close one. But it's something. It's going to come out at some point where it's going to be very clear. I mean, the Bigfoot stuff, we get a little more clear stuff, but nobody has really caught truly clear. I mean, crisp. Dogman, werewolf. I've seen some good ones, but not like that.
Gerald? You know what, though? I'm going to be honest with you. I believe that there are people who have actually captured high definition, crystal clear photos of Bigfoot and Dogman and video as well. But just like, and I don't know if you've been active or been in the group lately, if you've seen what's been going on in the group lately, somebody shared a picture, a member in the group, Chanel Stewart, shared a great picture of a Dogman footprint, or he didn't say it was Dogman footprint, but this footprint was a canine type footprint, and it actually had he had the tape measure next to it, and it came up to be about 7 inches. I don't know, long, big.
Was that the one in the mud?
Yes, that was the one in the mud.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was actually a very good one.
What I had an issue with, because I don't mind, like, I'm not the person that says, okay, you got to be a yes man, you got to agree with what everybody says when it comes to any pictures or videos that they post. But for me, my thing is that people ask for a clear high definition picture of Bigfoot or Dogman, or they want to see more credible evidence. But then you got a researcher who actually goes out there and produces the evidence and is boots on the ground. I get it when it's something shared off the internet that is questionable because nobody knows where the source of that video or picture or print or whatever came from. But when there's somebody right there in the group that's actually actively answering people's questions, what my issue is like, before people want to call bullshit and want to call fake on people's posts, my thing that I feel about that is, before you do that, should you not first ask the person, what are your credentials? What is your research? Have you ever seen a Bigfoot or Dogman? How do you know that it wasn't a natural animal print? How do you know that it wasn't? Do you have panthers in your area? Do you have mountain lions? Do you have wolves, coyotes, or bears in your area before you say, I call bullshit? And then my other issue with it was also, when you have a print, and then this person also went even deeper to pull the print, have a tape measure right there with it, and to actually have put the prints on there. So if you want to say a bear print, somebody actually had screenshot a picture of a bear footprint. And my comment back to that person was basically, what you just screenshot and put here for comparison, if it's a bear print, doesn't look anywhere even close to what this man just shared. So when you call bullshit, when people want to call fake, first know what you're talking about. And I'm not attacking anybody in the group. Everybody has a right to their opinion. You have a right to say, I don't think that's what it is. I'm not saying that. But when you say that, know all the facts first. And when you got somebody that's answering questions for you, at least have a backstory. Because the person actually gave the backstory on everything. So you can't just say it's this or that without knowing everything. And if somebody's answering you, for one, my other issue with that is, to what point would it make sense? And I understand that there's a lot of fake stuff on the internet now, and I get that, but a person shared within the group, because most people, this person is not very shy, he kind of welcomes it, but he welcomes all comments. But my thing is that a lot of people are very insecure or hesitant about sharing their pictures, whether it's Dogman, Bigfoot, paranormal, because they fear ridicule. And when it comes down to ridicule, y'all need to realize too, we're all adults here. You don't see anything, don't say anything. Or just say, I don't see it. But when it comes down to it, y'all are also, we talk about government agencies all the time. They're trying to keep us from knowing all this knowledge, keeping us from getting the information. But when somebody shares a good picture with you, when it's too good, then it's fake, it's Photoshop, or it's, but nobody's making money from this. Nobody's claiming it to be anything, but you go on the attack. So why would anybody at that point want to share anything with you? Because
That's
I've
correct.
even in my own group, I've dealt with that. What do y'all feel about that? Before I keep rambling on, but what do y'all feel
Yeah,
about that?
I
I'm gonna let.
I, I think I think the only thing I have with that be really to say that everything you said, you're 100% right. I think what I was talking about when I referred to something finally coming out. I think there's people who sit with freaking film footage, minutes and 20 and 15 minutes watching the thing walk across the yard, stand up, bluff charging with it. I mean, there's tons of, but nobody is going to come out with that. Number one, like you said, knowing that the ridicule they're going to get, and number two, not knowing who's going to come after them and any one of these alphabet agencies because they put this out there. That's why I said at some point we're going to have to go to being able to have physical meetings together. This media is only going to do so much because everything can be tracked. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're absolutely right with that. I think one of the things that would help though is when people do put pictures and stuff. Let's say, for instance, you put a picture and you said it's something cloaking or whatever. What helps a lot is just being able to draw and actually be able to somewhat give some sort of small narration to at least guide people to where this thing, whatever you've taken a picture of and where it is and what you see. Now, if they don't see it, okay, they don't see it. I don't think you should be ridiculing anybody because you don't see what you automatically think it's going to be something like you're watching, a movie or something, American Werewolf in London. Well, it's not going to be that easy. You know what I'm saying? But if they've taken a picture of something and they've witnessed it and seen it or whatever, I think the least in respect you can do, I mean, is to be able to give them that. I mean, at least the respect you do is to give them that and recognize there may be something that they can see that it may take a minute for them to be able to explain it to you, to show you where it's at. Because a lot of stuff I look at, okay, where is it? I know it's, I don't think, now there might be some fools out there that just do that to just get hits, and I'm sure they're out there without a doubt. But people who are sincerely doing this, I mean, what are they winning by putting that out there to get ridiculed? So they're not doing it
Absolutely.
just to be doing it. You know what I mean? So taking a minute to be able to say, and you'll hear me. I'll make a quote. I'll ask a question in the comments and say, hey, I'm not seeing. Where's that? Can they point it out or circle it? Because I'm not finding it. There's a picture I saw today. I don't know if it was. I think it may have been on your page, B, where this guy saw some pictures he took from some years ago, and man, you could clearly see the daggone dog man with the yellow eyes and everything, kind of down low. It was like that was one of the best pictures I've ever seen of eyes and face in a long time. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you wonder how many really good pictures people have that they're just not ready to be able to share and be out there with yet. And until we can get to where we stop
Absolutely.
ridiculing one another and just be able to just, if you're gonna put that out there, let's just see it and leave it at that and not try to turn this into like, this is not Hollywood. You're not, it's not a movie. We have to look at it in the reality. I mean, these things are cloaking and in bushes. If they're doing that, then you realize, of course, it's not going to be as simple as just look at it and they're right there. It may have to be where here it is right here. And then you see it and be like, oh, yeah, I see it now. Because there's been lots of things I look at, I couldn't see it. But when they point it out, then you'd be like, oh, yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I see it. How you going to see something that big hiding in dark brush that's already black? You ain't going to see that quick like that. Nobody is. Now, if I took the thing out and put it out in a big old in a big yard that's filled with untouched snow or something, yeah, it's black. Okay, you're gonna see that, of course, but you're not gonna see it if it's sitting there cloaked, or if this thing's number one skill is being able to be stealth and being hidden. You're not gonna see that, and no camera's gonna capture that. When you sit and look at it and they point it out, you can, then you will be able to, but you're not going to see that. So you're absolutely right in that. Not to belabor that, but go ahead. But Richard's in the back in the on sitting in backstage. He's sitting there
I'm
ready
gonna
to go. I'm
let.
not going to take all the airspace from him.
All right. Are you leaving? Or are you gonna stay in and just
I'll be I'll be in the room. I'm not going to be on the thing, but I'll be here.
Okay. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Mama.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Richard. Now, what do you think about all this? I'm going to let you get in there and Spaced Out Radio real quick. I know that you have your own radio show and I respect you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let us know if you want to join in later because we are at an hour and I may go for another 45 minutes to an hour. But I added Richard in because he has a lot of knowledge on a lot of the spiritual aspect of some of these things. I do believe that these creatures are flesh and blood and supernatural at the same time. And the reason I say flesh and blood, Richard, and supernatural, flesh and blood, because we know that they do procreate, we know that they do eat, we know that they can be killed, we do know that they have offspring. But the supernatural aspect, the reason why I believe that is because they are able to cloak. I've seen it. I've seen the dog man that I've watched in real time. I've seen them do that. So I know that that is possible. I know that they can mind speak from what I've heard from several eyewitnesses, and even in my own first encounter, I know that I've heard it speak back to me when I had this fear in my mind of, oh my God, please don't let that thing came over here. The thing it said in my head, what I heard in my head was, when it looked back at me, it said, "Oh, it didn't move its mouth." I'd heard it in my head. It said, "Oh, it's just you, no big deal." I grew up in that house, so basically, they moved in that house in 1985. So I had been living there like probably over 20 years. They still living there over 30 years. So basically, I felt like, oh, I've seen you out here before. It's just you. No need to worry. It stayed on 2 feet and continued casually to walk off into the woods. Now, since we're talking about all this, we were talking about a few minutes ago about the pictures. I'm gonna ask you, what are your thoughts on? Because I was originally talking about the giants and the Nephilim. What do you feel? Do you feel that Bigfoot and Dogman or other cryptids are modern day offspring of the Nephilim, coming back again, just like the Bible talked about?
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
All right, good night, everybody. If it's not night, good morning. Right, but they are offspring of the Nephilim and offspring of the angels that were sent to the prison that God bound up in the earth. Yes, they are. Um, they are flesh and blood, right? They are flesh and blood. They even display qualities of angels and demons,
Okay.
right? Angels will talk to you without even moving their mouths, right?
Telepathic. Yes.
Right? So they speak to your spirit. These things can do that also, but just using a dark force. Well, let's call it an evil force, right? So they have qualities of, let's say, their parents. Let us call them their parents, all right, or their forefathers, because they came from angels copulating with human being, right? Even the Book of Enoch spoke about them,
Yes.
right? And because the angels sinned by sleeping with women, right? God pronounced judgment on them, so they were bound for 70 generations. That's 70 generations up, right? That time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
So they loose and they're out again, and they're still doing the same thing. Um, the as in case of people not really agreeing or saying, well, hey, we're going on, that is BS and stuff like that. Always take things with a pinch of salt. Always. Not because you don't see it means that they do exist. It's just that you haven't seen it as yet.
Yes.
And what what rock people out of their socks and their comfort zone is when they actually see one, right? And now they have to now register that. And sometimes they see it, but they still don't believe it and call it off as another animal because their mind is so locked into that. Hey, what's going on? This is only Hollywood. These things cannot exist. But in reality, they do exist. Even the scriptures tell you about the two lion-like men. That is in what, Second Samuel 23:20, I think, where David's men killed two lion-like men
Yes.
in a cave, right?
Oh yeah, I
And
know about that.
and if you check the history, you're seeing that these things live in caves. And if you check up to now, they're still finding them going in caves. So the habitat has not changed, right? But
Absolutely.
so what you have happening is when God strengthened the Israelites to wipe them out, to kill out the Nephilim, right? They had to go in hiding, right? That was the only
Absolutely.
means of surviving. They had to hide. And what better place to hide in the deep places of the earth?
Absolutely.
Here's, here's where we come and we talk about hollow earth theory and stuff like that. But Hollow earth does exist.
Really?
Yes, it does exist. Right? When you talk about when you get in the scriptures and you start reading scriptures and the scriptures start to talk about in the deep places of the earth.
And you
Right?
know what, Richard? It also said, I can't remember if it's the book of Revelation when it said, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, in the sea, and
in the sea.
under the earth. And under the earth. You're
That's
right.
right. Yeah, that's
Wow.
right. The scriptures talk about it. Even in Psalms 59 from 1 to 12, I think. When David he was frightened, he said they come past the city about in the evening, making noise like a dog. And he said they grudge if they don't find meat.
Really?
These things were eating up the people.
Wait a minute. Can you repeat that one more time for the people in the back that didn't hear it? Because I missed
Right.
that too. Say that one more
Even
time.
King David was afraid of the dogmen. Right? And he was so afraid he made a psalm about them. He talked to God. He said, God, he said, bring them to shame, destroy them, because they go about the city and they make noise like a dog. And he said, and they grudge if they don't get meat. You understand? So
Yes.
even the ancients knew about dogmen. They knew about cryptids, right?
Okay. Absolutely.
So when the scripture also talk about evil beasts, they'll talk about the beast of the, but that there's panin, which they don't even know a definition for it, and they know the definition for it, but they would not give you the interpretation for it because there is something that they hide, right?
Why do you think that they hide this information from the people?
Well, you
Because it'll
see,
prove the Bible true
it
or
will
what?
prove that the Bible is real. And that is something that they're trying to hide. Remember the elites, remember these are esoteric movements. Plus, two, they don't want people to go and look for these things, and when they look and they find the truth. Because it will uncover a whole set of things that people have been trying to prove for years.
Absolutely.
Right? So the best thing to do is to keep it secret. Now, if Satan were to show himself, what will happen? All his plans will fall apart. Because people will get to believe, hey, what's going on? The devil real, hell real, hey, what's going on? Let me do everything possible to stay away from there.
You're right about that.
So in order to keep people in ignorance and to hide the true agenda behind these beings being here, which JW correctly said, right? The main purpose of the angels sleeping with women was to destroy the bloodline of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the Bible talks about Noah being perfect in his generation, when you look at the word generation, right? Generation.
Mm-hmm.
Noah was perfect in his gene ration.
Wow, that's pretty deep.
Right?
Wow, can you break that down?
He was perfect in his gene ration. The ration of gene that he had was different from the others. Why? Because it was pure. It was not contaminated with the Nephilim.
Wow, that's pretty deep. I like this.
Right? So when they said that Noah was perfect in his generation, his generation, that is why God could have selected him, because he was not contaminated with the blood of the Nephilim. Right? Mm-hmm. So that is why the blood of Christ had to come through him. Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So and then now, after, when we had the rise of Nimrod, you have now these angels, these fallen angels now coming again and mingling with the woman, the seed of men. Because remember, if you check it, the Bible says when God was pronouncing judgment on the serpent, he said, you will bite, your seed will bite the heel of my seed. The seed was Christ.
Absolutely.
So which means Satan also has a seed. And the seed was physical. The seed walked the earth among men, died, and rose again. Physical. Satan has a seed, which is also physical, right?
Absolutely.
Which will come through the Antichrist. But you have other seed. You have other seed that walk the earth, and these are the seed of the Nephilim, right? The
Right.
seed of the Nephilim. So when you check the scriptures coming down the line, and after that the flood, there were more giants. It means that the angels started sleeping
Mm-hmm.
with women again. They started back. Satan started back his plan to contaminate the gene. That is why God, as GW said, God had to wipe them out. So when you see people say God was genocidal, no, he wasn't genocidal. He was wiping out that evil seed.
Absolutely. Now,
Right?
here, I got a question for you on that. Now, my question is this: a lot of people, when they bring up the whole Nephilim theory, when they want to debunk the Nephilim theory, they say, well, it can't be part flesh and blood and supernatural at the same time
Let
because
me get to
the
that.
super. Well, hold on. I want to let me finish the question because I forget, but then you get to it. But people say but angels don't need to eat. They don't need to do this. Supernatural don't need to eat, so it's not supernatural. But then they forget, and you just remember this. I'm gonna let you finish your point, but remember this and come back to it. Remember that in the book of Job, the angels came and they took on a flesh and blood form, and they came and they sat at the table with Job in flesh and blood bodies, and actually ate a meal with Job and his family.
Okay, and this is what I want to get at. And in um when you check Moses, not Moses, um Avram, right? When you check Avram, God came down with Avram and met with him before he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. He came in flesh and ate.
Who? Wait a minute. What? I missed that.
When God was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he said, "Let me go and visit my partner Avram." And when he went down, Avram immediately recognized who he was. He went and he slew a cattle and he got butter and he brought for them to eat. And the Bible said what? They did eat.
Absolutely.
Check this again. The angels came down in Sodom and Gomorrah,
Yeah.
and they came physically and they actually held on to again, so excited about this because to Lot, and they grabbed him and his two daughters physically and pulled them out of the city.
Absolutely.
So it shows me that angels and spirits could manifest in flesh and they
Wow.
could eat. So which means once they're in flesh, they have full human function, yet supernatural.
Absolutely. See, that's the point I've been trying to make because y'all, if whoever didn't hear that, y'all, you can take it or leave it or whatever you want to do. But when it comes to this, and like I mentioned, and when I did the interview with Josh, y'all got to think deeper than your rational mind because a lot of y'all be trying to use rational, natural, um, natural human or natural animal characteristics to try to make sense of Bigfoot and Dogman, and you cannot do it. You can't do
For,
it. It don't
for
make no sense
example,
rationally because just like Richard just said just now, and like I brought up before, you when you want to say demons don't eat or angels don't need to eat, but they did eat, and there's accounts of that, and I'm sure in several other. If you know what, right now I'm gonna put this out there, Richard, and you can probably speak on this because you know in your culture, and I know African culture and Caribbean culture, I know that people give food sacrifices to the ancestors And the
Yep,
ancestors
they
actually
eat
eat
it.
the food.
Yeah,
Boom! Did y'all hear that?
they eat them. We literally they literally give them milk and honey, and they lap it up.
Did y'all hear that? One more time. Say it again,
Literally,
Rick.
they give them milk and honey, and they eat it. They drink it. Normal, normal.
So spirits can eat.
Yes, they can. They
And the
can.
whole purpose of demonic possession is to take on the fleshly form of a person's body. Because a spirit, who's always a spirit from the beginning, whether it's supernatural, spiritual, they have the ability to possess somebody else's body in order to do that. So they still, whether they have become or manifested a physical body of their own, or whether they have demonically possessed, spirits can still take on flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm.
And they can still eat, whether in the body
Mm-hmm.
or out of the body. Go ahead, Richard.
So when you see, we have something here called a sukunya, the female version of a vampire, but they a little bit different. They turn to a ball, they shed their skin and turn to a ball of fire, and they go and they suck blood and thing. Um, you see, your natural mind can understand supernatural things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your natural mind. You will see people do telekinesis on something and move it. How are you going to explain that?
Mm-hmm.
Your natural mind will tell you, in order for me to move this, I have to physically hold it and move it.
Mm-hmm.
When you see something supernatural or somebody's doing something supernatural, your mind cannot wrap around it because you are not accustomed to it.
Absolutely.
So your mind, once you have a locked mind, even though you see it, you would not believe it. Why? Because you are attached to the senses. You're attached to your senses,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You're attached to your senses. So in order for you to detach from your senses, you need to get knowledge. And with that, once you get knowledge and you begin to understand the flow of things, then once you see something, you wouldn't say, hey, that BS. You begin to appreciate there's another realm outside there that you can't see.
Absolutely.
You can't see the wind, you can't see the air, but yet it is there. You can't, sometimes you don't even feel it because it's not even blowing, but it is there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
when we see these traits, now remember these beings are part angel, part human. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means they have a supernatural side to them, or they have that part of their mind that is fully developed or more developed than ours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because let me just give you it's something just simple, just real simple, and I want you all to think about it, right? You could imagine the best food, your favorite food, and immediately your mouth will start to salivate,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That is how your imagination works. Something that is intangible, but yet still it producing effects in the body.
Absolutely.
Now take that now and multiply by 1,000 times. Or probably how many times, I don't know how many times they could use that to actually bring about something physical. Think about that. Where their mind are so developed, they can move at speeds that will shock a human being
Mm-hmm.
because they are functioning in a capacity way beyond our dimension.
Real quick on just what you just said just there. So when you said they can function at a speed that's way beyond our comprehension, that's that supernatural speed. And you've heard people talk about how fast
They can move.
man and Bigfoot. Even if you look at that video that the guy blew from what was it, Pierce County, Texas. I'm not in Texas, Florida, one where that dog man was running back in the background. He caught it on Facebook Live. Do you remember seeing
Yes, I
that?
remember that.
That thing was about 12 to 15 feet tall. If you look how tall it was, the head of it going past that telephone pole, that thing was huge. And there were people who actually took that video and put it in slow motion. Even in
Yes,
slow motion, it was going so fast. Even me trying to like pause that video to try to get a club, it was still like a blur. That thing was
that's right.
moving at a supernatural speed. No regular
And that is
animal
how
does that. And when
that is how
no, I was
that is
gonna
how
say
that is how
like when it
spirits
comes to it,
right.
go ahead.
You're correct. That is how spirits move. So
Mm-hmm.
they have the ability to function like spirits, yet they're physical.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Because of the DNA. Now, when we start to talk about human beings and achieving those things, what they have to do is to allow spirits to enter into them and bring them to that level. So a human being moving, it is possible for human beings to move at that speed.
It
It is
is.
possible, right?
Wait,
It
explain it because before you go further, because right now people listening, I want to hear that, and people are going to want to hear that. How is it possible for
right.
humans to do that?
Okay. Now it takes you into the supernatural realm, right? It takes you into the supernatural where you are no longer really in control, but the spirit is in control. That is why when Philip and Elijah and all these men, when they were filled with the Holy Ghost, they say that Elijah was in one place and all of a sudden he was in the next place. Philip met the eunuch at a river, and all of a sudden he was in another country. The Bible says the Spirit of God picked him up from there and put him in the next day, in a next place, so he could preach the gospel. When Elijah met the servant of Ahab, and he said, Elijah tell him, go tell that fox, tell Ahab that I'm here and I will wait for him here. The servant say, please, my Lord. He say, don't set me up. He say, you would be here and the Spirit of the Lord will take you, and before you know it, you're in another place. He say, if that happen, I'm going to lose my life. Please, he said, don't worry. I will be here. I have to talk to King Ahab. How?
Absolutely.
Because the Spirit of God was on them fellas in such a way that if he wanted them, if they were 10,000 miles away from our country, the Spirit of God would come upon them and immediately they would be in our next country.
Is that like what do you call that? I forgot. What happens at night? I can't remember the name of it.
Transcendental meditation. When you transcend,
No, it's called astral projection, astral
astral project,
travel.
right?
Is
So
that the
that
same thing?
is not the same. Astral projecting is when you leave your body and you go out into the cosmos to speak to the ascended masters, right? It's more transcending. So you're from, and that's teleportation. You go up into the astral realm and then you shoot down into another place and your body materialize there.
So in the astral projection in your, I guess your sleep realm, are you saying that dreams? Are you saying that dreams
No, no, people can actually activate that state. They
and
can
it's
actually
real?
act. It's real. Witches do it. Voodoo men do it when they have to leave to go from one place to the next to either to kill somebody or to put a curse on somebody. They do it, and
Absolutely. I knew about
that's
that.
that's normal. That's normal down here. That's normal.
Can I still tell them something real quick? This is real deep, y'all. Richard and kidding y'all with the truth tonight. Y'all ain't ready for this, and I'm thankful right now that like Richard was on here because I know this show is supposed to be about giants, and I'm gonna cover that again because we had an hour and a half, and I'm gonna cover it again. I don't know what happened to my original guest tonight, but when I'm gonna put it to y'all like this right now, like whoever's here tonight, like JW is here with us tonight, and who's that? Oh, who's that talking? Anyway, JW's here with us tonight, and Richard is here with us tonight. This is who was supposed to be here tonight. Like, this is, I think, supernaturally ordained. Everybody who's on this panel right now is supposed to be on this panel right now. I feel like what he's telling y'all, he just told y'all, and I know y'all don't understand, and I've researched a whole bunch of stuff, not just dogmen and cryptids, but when it comes to sleep paralysis, transcendental meditation, astral projection, all that kind of stuff. This is all spiritually intertwined, and that's why I tell you, like, everything is not always what it seems when it comes to dogmen and Bigfoot and cryptids. It's much broader than y'all know, and it's even a marine kingdom when it comes to the queen of the coast and mermaids and stuff like that. That's real.
We have in Trinidad.
They're not ready for, yeah, go ahead, sir.
Hey, and I just said it, and Richard made me think about something real quick. Whatever, we're gonna have to touch on the prop. They're having a problem with mermaids in Zimbabwe. Problems. They're having problems with them. Okay, think about that. Not do they exist? They're having problems. That's way beyond they exist. They're having problems with them. And here's another thing. I know you gotta get off, B, and maybe this will be a good topic to talk about at some point.
Another hour or 30 minutes, an hour, however long Richard wants to stay on here.
Here's a good topic for you and Richard. I just want to know what you think about this. This is interesting. You remember in the Bible when they were fighting? I think it was Gideon. Okay, he was fighting, and it was about to get dark, right?
Right, when Joshua commanded the sun.
Okay, but what did he say? Did he? Okay, think about this. Now, this is the funniest thing, man. We read stuff too quick. He commanded the sun to stand still. Now, if we're moving around the sun, why didn't he say earth stand still? Why did he say sun stand still?
Wow.
I just want to blow your mind with that. Why did he say sun stand still? Why did he say earth stand still?
Because they understand. Because they understand that there's a portal in the Hebrew understanding. There's a portal where the sun go through and the moon go through.
Right. But I was talking about the heliocentric thing where people believe this whole thing about all the planets going around and stuff, whatever. It's just like you said, it's all about, and one thing I had to do, and I've done this years ago, I've always been a very inquisitive person, but you literally have to throw away everything you've learned and learn it all over again. You have to. You have no choice. Everything from what you learn in the government, you have to throw it all out the window. It's been contaminated. You've been lied to. Very little of it is actual truth. And it's been designed that way. It's been designed that way. That's the reality of it. And a lot of people are not going to want to let go of that. You know, you're saying, you talk about being able to have the cognizant dissonance, where they want to still live in that realm that keeps them comfortable, because they know facing the truth means they got to tear down what they've known, and they don't want to do that. So there's a lot. I mean, we can go all the way from, and it just keeps going. You want to talk about God's original seed, black? We don't even want to get into that. That is a whole another ball game. We won't get into that. But that's the thing about truth. Truth never changes. You have to change for it. It's not going to change for you. It's still.
I love what you said there. The truth never changes, because what Jesus said, "Oh God, your word is truth."
Yes, it is. Yes,
right?
It is.
And
100%.
And Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." So, and the scripture said he's another God to change, right? So if the word is truth, and what we read in the word has to be true, then whatsoever you learn outside of the truth is a lie.
Completely. 100%. 100%.
Marquetta,
I'm seeing you, Marquetta.
I got a question for him real quick, and then I'm going to go to Marquetta's question for you, Richard. Gerald, you brought that up because are they saying that I can't remember if they're heliocentric, and they were saying that the earth revolves around the sun, but what you were saying that the sun has to stand still, because it's not that the earth revolves around the sun, but the sun revolves around the earth, the other way around. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, think about the fact that just in 2020, they just now are going to finally come out and say that the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere. I mean, think about that. Now, that was something that they came out and admitted it, that the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere. No, wait a minute. When all these pictures y'all were taking from supposedly taken of the Earth, You are way out far away from the earth to the point where you can take a full picture of the earth. What happened to that? See, nobody questioned that. Well, then how did you get these pictures then? If it's in the if it's in the Earth's atmosphere, how did you get these pictures then?
But
You know what I'm saying? How?
they had to come up with that because according to even their own scientists, they say that you cannot go over what is it?
You can't go through the radiation field. Yeah,
you can't go through Van Allen's belt.
Van Allen, you can't. Nobody's ready to hear that.
Which means nobody. That nobody could have really actually gone to the moon.
No,
if you can't let me tell you through that.
Let me tell you something, and I'll say this: they can say whatever they want because you can't change the truth, right? Baby, God got this thing locked down. You cannot leave out. He did it for a reason because he knew where man's mind would go. That's why he had to shut down that ability that man had when he fell in sin. He knew how far they want to go. He knew. I mean, if he didn't know everything, he can't be God. So he knew all of this. He knew it. And they even now are fighting to keep people from Antarctica, keeping them from that ice wall, keeping them so they don't see what the truth is. There's a big canopy over this place. Ain't nobody leaving. You look up Operation Fishbowl, Operation High Jump, all these things. Ain't nobody leaving this Earth atmosphere. Ain't nobody left this Earth's atmosphere. Tell me why every rocket that goes up always curves back towards the Earth. If it's going straight, how come it don't go straight? Has anybody ever seen it? Has anybody ever really looked at that? When you watch a rocket, why does it always lean out? Why does it just go straight up? Why not just go straight up? They tell you, well, you got to kind of gradually go. No. There's a firmament up there that you can't break through. No, that's why. And they don't want you to know that. Yeah, they don't want you to know that. See, they're trying to keep you from knowing the truth of what's really going on. Because, see, once you break out something that you confirm was in that Bible, then you know that Bible has to be true. And they don't want you to think anything being it. And that's the most... think about this. Even knowing that this thing has been tampered with by people, all the stuff they hid in the dark ages and translating into Latin and taking out the books and all the stuff they did still cannot stop the power of its truth. You can't stop. Now you may have to dig a little further in it to be able to get to the origins and the truth of what it was really originally saying, in the sense that it didn't specifically say this because they lost in the translation stuff, whatever. But you can't stop the word. You're not going to be able to stop that. That's why Jesus said you can do nothing against the truth, only for it. You cannot stop it. And you know, when he said even if I don't even cry out, he said these rocks will cry out. And literally everything else declares the glory of the Lord. You can't stop it. How are you going to stop that? You cannot stop it. And they are doing everything they can to keep everybody from knowing. And the ultimate end. And that war that they're talking about in the end, it's not going to be a war with missiles and bombs to that effect. It's them literally trying to rage a war against the coming of him. And he's coming. You rest assured. And that's another deeper subject I want to get into, the reasons why he's coming. Because the thing about it is, again, being taught it the wrong way. Because in order for you to be able to keep people ignorant, you got to hide the truth from them and give them the truth you want them to have that'll never let them be able to see the real truth. So once you figure out, and I'll leave you with this, find out who are these people God is talking about. Who are these people God is talking about? Really who these people are. Because when you find out who these people he talking about, he coming back for, you're going to find out that the people who are acting like they the ones, they're not the real ones. That's why they don't want you to know who the real people are. Why you think they fight so hard for that? They know once you find out who the people are, you know who the other people ain't. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone, Gerald.
I'm going to leave it at that. You see, I didn't have to make no inclinations towards nothing, but you know, you may not. I didn't have to say it, but you feel me. You know exactly what I'm saying. And all of these things that we dealing with now, these truths have all been part of the agenda to keep everybody in the dark and ignorant of what's really going on, because it all points back to the truth of God's word. All of it does, no matter how you try to take it apart. And he can do all the evil stuff he think he gonna do, these fallen angels. But when those clouds, think about how crazy you have to be to wage war against the eternal God. You gotta already be gone just to do that. You're not right. And who's following him? Just think how crazy that is. But that's exactly what they're doing. They're literally gonna try to stop in Armageddon. That's what Armageddon is about. Who you think he pleading for when he come to Armageddon? Who you think he coming back to deal with in the nations? Read it. Read Deuteronomy. It'll tell you who he coming back. He coming back to deal. He coming back to deal with some people, and he not coming back as this little lamb walking around with some little, white little robe on with long hair.
Okay.
No, he ain't coming back like that. But, okay, I digress. Go ahead. I just want to throw that in about that thing about telling the sun to stand still. That's that just alone right there will blow your mind. Just that.
All right, I'm going to take a question. Marquetta Jones wanted to know.
Right. I was going to answer her.
Okay, so her question was, what about if you astral project involuntarily?
Right. So what some people do, they get involved in some issues or sometimes they're not covered. And what end up happening is that a demon get access to your soul and begin to use that to do biddings. Now, the God say, I won't do anything unless I find a man to operate in the earth. That's just a spiritual law. That's just a spiritual law. Right? Demons have to go through a physical body to actually get evil going the way it's supposed to. Right? So sometimes when these things happen involuntarily, is more or less initiation into the dark world. Right? You get it initiated into something. And then those people who usually go through that, in time, they hear and see kind of supernatural things or events happening around them.
Absolutely.
Right? A lot of supernatural events begin to happen around them because you're being initiated into something that's bigger than what they think or bigger than what they know. Right? So which means an evil spirit got the control of your spirit. And you have no control when you're in that realm, where that dream realm is where God's supposed to be speaking with your spirit. But they have the alternate part of that, where if you're not covered under the Almighty, demons could use that to initiate you into something that is evil. You don't just go into astral planes just for fun or just because they want you to. There's always a purpose and a reason behind astral projection. They could use your spirit to do evil.
I heard about that.
Yes, they could use your spirit to do evil. So that is involuntary. That means that you're not covered, and that's why you see sometimes some people there and you just see them floating. They have no control over their body because by a spirit take over. Right? Sometimes they just out of the body. They know they see in their body, but they're outside of the body and they're watching themselves and like, wait, what really happening? But that is just your spirit man leaving your body. Right? Your spirit leaving your body, and whatever spirit is in control of that, doing that to initiate you into something that is not good at all. So all those things are just initiation processes, right? Those are stages of initiation into the dark realm.
And I know that they say that you're not supposed to eat anything in your dreams, or you're not supposed to go into the water in your dreams, or you're not supposed to get married in your dreams.
Yeah, when you get married in your dreams, you're getting married to a husband spirit, right? When you go into the water, that is the marine kingdom. All those are parts of initiation processes, right? When you eat, you're eating sickness and thing into your body, right?
Wait. You said eating anything given to you in a dream, that's in the marine kingdom, and you will initiate sickness into your body.
Into your body. That's normal here. That's normal down here. That is normal. Yes. That's normal. I really want to hear more about the marine people. They are one of the most powerful, let's say, agents of darkness in the world. The mermaids are real. We have mermaids here, right? They are real. There's a boy who disappeared in flower pot. They can't find him. Right, there's no tide there, no current. There's like a little bay area. He just disappeared, and people would tell you don't go there because the mermaids will get you. Right? There were talks about people going there and bathing and mermaids attacking them and things. So the kingdom real. They also have traits of dogmen, just in the water, and they do visit people by night, right? They astral project,
The
and they visit.
the mermaids,
Yeah, yes, they do.
and that spirit spouse.
That's right.
Oh,
They visit you, and if you're looking for power, most of these singers, most of the R&B singers, most of these rappers, they have contracts with mermaids. Is it truth?
how do how do you know if you are being visited by a marine spirit? I know some of the things, but can you tell the
All
guests
right.
that
So
are here,
all right. So
or spirit
y-
spouse?
you have you can marry. That is one. No matter what you try to do, you can't get married because that spirit locked to you. Next thing, abortions. Well, not abortion, but miscarriages.
You mentioned marriage. Cannot marry, but if you are married, one of the things is that it will cause strife and division in your marriage,
Right.
and it's a spirit of divorce
Yeah,
also.
that's right, because they are jealous spirits, right? So when these spirits are being cast out, they say that they don't even know the man, or they don't even know the woman, even though the person is the husband or the person is the wife, right? Because the marine spirits and the husband spirits, they are jealous. They want. I could swear I saw someone in the Caribbean. So yeah, they're in the Caribbean. They're there. So your finances getting attacked. You can't see away. Um, anywhere you go, misfortune. Those are signs of being attacked by the marine kingdom.
And
Deaths around you.
can you also let them know about the fact that if during your sleep, when you're having dreams and stuff at night, a lot of
Yeah,
the times when you're intimate during your dreams, whether
wet
you
dreams. You call
think
it.
that's the person that you are in love with, it's really not them. Those
No,
are
there's
the. Go
that
ahead.
mermaids. And what they actually do, they take the semen of men. They take the semen of men to procreate, right? And also to do evil, right? They also eat human flesh. People want to be mermaids, and people like mermaids and stuff like that. They're the worst. They're the worst things you could ever come across. Um,
And
they
are they these beautiful mermaids like you see on
oh
movies?
they nope, no. I, some of them, they are beautiful, but they have teeth, like jagged teeth. They look
Hmm.
I don't know how to describe them. Some of them, I don't know, like they may have different species of them. They let me call them different breeds of them. They beautiful, but pale, creamish, greenish skin,
Hmm.
right? Um, but yet still they have this unnatural look. They beautiful, not only beautiful, but I don't know how to describe them. They tell you the truth. I know that they're beautiful, but yet still they look like something out of this earth, right? Um, the hair that you see is not really hair. It is not here. It look like here, but it's not here.
Yes. And don't they cause like it's like a really strong spirit of lust, and then even sleep paralysis when it comes to that.
Yeah. Um, they look. There was this pastor. He wanted power, but he thought the power that his senior pastor was carrying was of God, but it was of the marine kingdom.
Hmm.
And this pastor ended up telling him that he could show him how to get power and how to let people slain in the spirit and all these kind of things. And he said,
Hmm.
but you'll have to bring some money come to the shore with him, by the seashore. He has to come. And he said, "Oh," he said, "No, don't worry. It's nothing deadly, it's nothing dangerous." He said, "But if you want power, you're going to get your power." And he went, and the pastor said some prayers, and a mermaid came out of the water, had intercourse with him, and take out a cross from her private parts and give him. And he was supposed to wear that. And then she give him some oils, and he said all of a sudden, he could have see people future and what happened in the past with more like prophesy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was happening. But the weird thing about it is that he had to sleep with over 20 girls per day. And he was like, how he's going to do that? And he said, don't worry, that could be organized. And like 20 virgins per day he had to sleep with, and the pastor was bringing these girls for him. Right? And when he realized the evil that he was in, he wanted to come out, and the mermaid used to come and visit him and sing and have sleep, have intercourse with him. And when he wanted to come out, she used to rape him.
Now, when it comes to these marine spirits, mermaids and stuff like that, when you see movies like The Little Mermaid or some of these other mermaid movies or sirens and stuff like that, just understand, y'all. Now, the Bible does not go into great detail. It'll kind of touch on stuff and it'll kind of leave it. But just like I mentioned to Richard earlier, it is mentioned. It says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, in the earth, which is inner earth,
and under the sea.
Under the sea. Now, if y'all remember, these are destructive spirits when it comes to your marriage, when it comes to your financial life, when it comes to spirit spouses, stuff like that. When you have sex with somebody in your dreams, and I know this took a completely different turn, but I'm going to look at this as a supernatural experience in and of itself, because this conversation tonight took a turn for what it was really supposed to be about, because I had no idea my guest did not show up tonight. He was actually my backup guest, which I was going to have him on as my real guest for tonight, but it didn't work out because it wasn't ordained to be that way. I feel like God set this up for it to be what it is right now, because a lot of people are dealing with these things and don't know. For those of you who deal with sleep paralysis, has been held down at night when you go to sleep, that is not hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations like they tell you. That is real. That is a spirit that is real, that's in your room. And sometimes the reason why you are aware of its presence is because y'all need not forget that first and foremost, you are a spirit yourself. You just inhabited flesh and blood. You're a spirit. Your spirit makes you aware when there's another spirit in the room. That's why sometimes when you are with your eyes closed, if somebody else walks into the room while you land on the couch, or
you sense them.
You can feel their presence in there because your spirit is aware of another spirit. That's why during sleep paralysis, you are aware and you can feel the presence of that spirit, the vibration that it gives off, the evil or whatever feeling that you're feeling. That's why even though your physical eyes are closed, you can still see, in my experience, you can still see everything in the room, because it's not your physical eyes that's open, it's your spiritual eyes that's open. Your spirit is what's real. You just inhabit flesh and blood. But
this body is just a shell.
Yeah. So you're still seeing what's there. So you're in the spirit. So the spirit realm, stuff that you dream about, some dreams might be because it's indigestion and everything else under the sun. You don't watch a scary movie, but some dreams are actually real. What happens to you, and you wake up and you feel like, oh, that was a real dream. Well, what was that about? It's because you actually were there. Richard,
some people get initiated. Some people get initiated in their dreams and they don't even know it. It seems so real, but it's like your spirit actually traveled to the place where whatsoever supernatural being connected you to, right? Your spirit traveled there. What are the mermaids doing to cause problems? All right, we will answer that, right? Your spirit actually went there, right? The real you is your spirit. The real you is not this physical body, you know. When you die, this physical body goes. It goes back to the dust, but the real you lives on after. Right? Mermaids, remember, mermaids, after that, the Lord sent the flood on the earth. The women that slept with the angels, God turned them into sirens or mermaids. right? Because they were the brides of these angels. So they had supernatural power, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is why when you see people, when you hear about stories of people going to the mermaids for power, for fortune and stuff like that, right? It's because they deal with a dark kingdom, and the dark kingdom, what they actually do is to get demons to bless you, right? When you're blessed by evil, we call it curse,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's literally a curse that operates in your life, right? And what these mermaids do, they send curses at people. Well, when they say they bless, they really curse, because the evil blessing is what we know as a curse. So that's why you have people who try to have kids, they can't have kids, their marriage is suffering. People cannot get married because the spouse spirit actually causing problems with probably a significant other. So you're affected by a marine spirit. You can't see a way money, you have money and all of a sudden it just disappear. Things just start to come up just so, and your money just you're affected. You're affected by the marine kingdom. That is the operation of mermaids,
Richard,
right?
I'm
And
just gonna let y'all know real quick. We're almost at 2 hours. I'm gonna take this last question with Velujo for Richard, and then we're gonna have Richard back on again because I want to go deeper in this because there's different aspects, and I've always said I was gonna have Richard on as a guest, just because Richard is like very in depth. He's very spiritual. Here in the United States, they don't teach a lot in the Christian churches about what they should be teaching on the spiritual realm, or for you to go to war with spiritual battle and understanding of things. Because if you understand some stuff on the spiritual, supernatural stuff, even though and Bigfoot stuff is already strange enough in and of itself, you'll understand that there's no new thing under the sun. These things have always been here for that
always
millions, thousands of years. They've always been here. And so I'm just telling you, when y'all want to discount stuff or you want to tag people and say the woo, you can say whatever you want to say, because like when it comes to me, I don't. You can say whatever you want to say. Like in my group, you can say that. Okay, that's you. Just because you haven't seen it. Now, first of all, y'all need to understand that some of us, when it comes to looking at pictures, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let Richard get to Velujo's question. But when it comes to this stuff, y'all don't need to have a closed mind when it comes to it, because nobody's an expert in this field. Number one. Number two, when you want to say flesh and blood only, okay, well, explain the other stuff that don't make sense. Explain the fact that they can appear and disappear. Explain the fact that they can clone. Explain what I like to call the predator effect, where it looks like a mirage, or like that movie, The Predator. Explain that. Explain how they have supernatural speed. Oh no, you can't explain it naturally? That's what I thought. Supernatural. You don't have to agree with
supernatural.
me, and I'm not trying to push my beliefs on anybody, but I'm just saying there is a supernatural realm. You yourself are supernatural because you are a spirit. So get that in y'all's head. And I'm sorry, like I said, I'm not attacking nobody. I promise I'm not. I'm just trying to get y'all to rationalize and stop trying to make natural sense of spiritual things. You can't wrap your mind around it. So when you say, well, I don't know you don't know what happened to it because you're thinking with your natural mind. Your natural mind cannot make sense of supernatural spiritual things. And
That's
until
right.
you get that, you're not ever going to get it. So,
That's right.
one more thing, Richard, I wanted to say real quick, because there was a picture, like I said before, of that footprint printed in the group. There was one footprint. And so some people wanted to say, well, it doesn't make sense because this picture's too perfect with this one footprint. I don't see any scar marks in it. And then some people wanted to say, well, why is there only one footprint? It's fake. And I said, my comment back to the people who said that, it was like, you didn't ask the man any questions, number one. Number two, the second question I had about that was, second comment I made about that was, if it's fake, let me see you go out there and recreate that same fake footprint right now. Matter of fact, today I got time. Don't make me do it tomorrow, because I want to go out there and show y'all how hard it is to fake something. Because if you want to fake something that's 7 inches tall, long or big, you can't fake it. Let me see you fake it. Let me see how easy it is. Because when y'all say fake, you act like it's just that easy to go out there and fake it. No, don't just say fake, because we're going to start questioning y'all who say fake too. When you want to say fake, prove it. and don't even
Mhm.
prove it. Put it on live on video. I don't want to see you go get no stamp or nothing like that. Let me see you create it naturally in real time to show you just how hard it is to create something like that when you want to call fake.
That's right.
All right.
Now, just think about it. You are running, right? So you're running. Now you're running as a natural man. Every stride that you take, let's say you have plaster and you run on plaster, and the plaster is off, you're going to see where your footprint, right? And you're running. So you'll have one foot in front and a distance. Then you'll have another foot in front and a distance, and you'll see the prints at a particular distance, right?
Right.
That's a human being running. Let's take it to a dog, man.
Wow.
One footprint, where a human footprint, 1 foot would be probably, let's say, X distance from the other one, right? So you'll have 1 footprint, the right foot will land, and when the left foot land, it probably about 3 or 4 feet apart from the left and the right foot when you're making strides. Let's go to a dog, man, who does not run naturally, runs supernaturally. Let's say you just going out of the blue, that dog, man, take a leap, land on 1 foot, then on that same foot bounce off, and who knows where the other footprint landed up. But you're talking about a being that is moving almost like lightning and stride,
Absolutely.
just taking strides, boom. So
Good point.
one footprint might be 20, 50, 30, 40 yards apart.
Wow. You did y'all hear that? You know what? I'm gonna wait a minute. Hold on. We at the exact 2 hour mark, 2 hour and 1 minute mark. So I'm gonna share this, and I'm gonna make sure just what you said on that footprint. I'm gonna make sure that for the comment, I'm gonna open because I shut that comment thread down because some of the people in there just lost their mind. And I just shut it down because they was getting out of control. But I'm gonna open it up back up tomorrow, and I'm gonna say y'all go to the 2 hour mark on this video, and
Let me
Richard can at least try to make some rational thought for you on this point alone about that footprint.
let
But
me let
go
me
ahead,
answer
Richard.
let me answer you one time. Um, Now, witches, when I had a partner, right? Witches here, when the witches fight, they fight in the supernatural realm, in the astral plane. And when they come back in their body, wherever they get lashed outside in the astral plane is where they're going to feel it in their body, right?
Okay. Yes.
I had a partner, he ended up fighting another witch. I have a partner who is a witch, is doing a little voodoo and thing. And up fighting, he went on morning. When these spiritual Baptists down here, they go on morning. Sometimes they bounce up another another head that is more powerful than them, and they fight for power. And when they fight, whatever damage they get outside there in the astral plane, when they come back into their body, that part wherever they get hit, let's say they get hit, damage on the knee outside there, when they come back, their knee going to be damaged.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If they get scraped
Yeah.
up, when they manifest back into the body, wherever they get scraped, you're going to see the manifestation of it. That is how dread it is. And that is just
I've
in
heard about that.
Trinidad. That is just in Trinidad. Normal
Oh
thing.
wow.
When you in a dream and your spirit leave your body, whatsoever damage you get outside there, when you come back in your body, you're going to feel it. That's why some people sleep. Sometimes they get scraped up and they wake up with marks on their body. It manifests.
Mm. Because some people, and I want to get Beludo's question real quick, but I wanted to mention like a lot of people during sleep paralysis, and like I said before, that ain't no hypnopompic and hypnagogic hallucinations. You're really
No, it's not
experiencing that.
hallucination. You know the strange thing about that? You know, these hypnotics, these doctors, they don't mention that when the name of Jesus is called, these things stop. They don't like to mention that.
Mm-mm.
When abductions taking place
Oh yeah.
and the person calling the name of Jesus, it'll stop
Mm-hmm.
instantly. You know, they don't talk about that.
Alien abduction, Bigfoot dogman experiences. I was just talking to Kumbo Baker, like he's going to be my guest for tomorrow night, and he's an OG. I mean, like he's like a well respected, world renowned researcher in dogman and Bigfoot field, Bigfoot researcher, and he even mentioned to me yesterday and on another occasion too that when it comes to those things that they do stop the attacks and stuff like that when you call on the name of Jesus. Now, real quick, Velujo said, "What if you have an extremely vivid, real dream where you or another person end up dying? It's so real you wake up in extreme pain in the part of your body that was injured."
I just answered that with my friend who was a witch and he got attacked in the astral plane. And when he came back, he was limping. He had a cane because he got damage on his knee in the astral plane. So when he came back into his body, his knee got damaged. So he had to walk with a cane.
Oh,
So
wow.
when you leave your body and you have you think you're dreaming, but it's what actually happening in the astral plane. When you come back in your body, you're going to feel that pain.
That's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Now, D. Robinson said, "What about lucid dreaming? Does that
Oh yeah,
doorways?"
that's right. That's right. And that's why we need to be careful. You need to be careful. That's why you always the scriptures say, "I will keep at perfect peace whose mind is stayed on me." So you always have to keep your mind stayed on the Lord. Always keep your mind stayed on the Lord. To prevent these kind of things, just at the back of your mind, if you feel sometimes even before the paralysis starts, it feels like if something in your room, your spirit does get away. Just get ready
Yes.
to just have at the back of your mind here, we're going to need to call on the name of Jesus. Just have that at the back of your mind. And trust me, they're going to stop. My God, that explains it. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, it is freaky. It is freaky.
But that's
I
but that's
love this.
100. That's 100 though, Richard. That's 100. That's 100. I've experienced it hundreds of times. And the minute, and they know after a while, they know I sleep peacefully. I will sit up, and your spirit is so powerful that you will get up and begin rebuking without even realizing you doing it. And I don't have no. I sleep peacefully. They know not to. Every now and then, and it's the devil. He gonna try it. They try it every now and then. But you get up, get the rebuke, and I get up and sit up and kick everything out. Everything out, and I go right back to sleep and sleep just as peacefully.
Let me give you an
They don't.
experience. Let me give you an experience. I was sleeping at night, and all of a sudden my foot just started to raise off the bed like that, just like that.
Wait a minute. What? Your foot raised off the bed?
Yeah, it was raising off the bed, just like that, levitating off the bed, just like that. It just started to raise, just like that. And so my foot raising up, and my back started to raise up until my head was almost off the ground. I just wake up, I stoops, and all of a sudden, boom, back down on the bed. Right? Because they already know from the time I get up, it's real prayers. So as I stoops, bam, they drop my foot back down on the bed. These things real. And how a spiritual being, how could a spiritual being lift your leg up unless it manifests? It have to manifest.
That's true. And you know what? I'm gonna bring this up real quick for those, and we got 18 still in the chat. And I know, we love, I'm gonna have both of these guys back on, but I want to say real quick, a lot of people don't realize that movie Nightmare on Elm Street. A lot of people don't know, and I actually found this out when I started having sleep paralysis from 2004 all the way up to 2017, when I actually had to end up dealing with a deliverance minister to get that to stop for several years, and it didn't start back again until 2020. Now, sometimes sleep paralysis can start because you've either renounced God or you've got anything to do in your life and you are on fire for God and you sharing the kingdom with God and trying to bring other people into the kingdom, or it can have anything to do with if you're dealing with anything with witchcraft or the occult, different reasons for why it will start in your life. But when it comes, like Richard was mentioning before, when I had it, I had an outer body experience with the first one I ever had. I could see my body laying down, I'm on my back is at the ceiling and I'm looking down at my body laying on the couch, which is crazy. And if you dream about yourself, it's not a regular dream when you can actually see every single detail. I could see what if there was a napkin on the floor, every strand of hair that was across my face, everything was exactly the same. So when you can see that, you have an out-of-body experience. I knew it was strange because, like, at the same time while this was happening, my father came in the room, and I guess this must have been a sleep paralysis. It was like early in the morning. My father came in the room and said, Tina, time to get up. You got to go to work. When he walked in there, the separation between the living room, because I fell asleep, well, the den, I fell asleep on the couch that night. And before I went, so the separation between the den and the kitchen, that what they had, y'all remember those old movies, like those old Western movies when they had the saloon doors that swing open and close?
Yeah.
They had those doors separating the kitchen from the den. And so my dad walked in and said, Tina, time to get up. You got to go to work.
That's the 70s, Bettina. That's the 60s and 70s.
Well,
that ain't no saloon. That's all.
Well, in the 90s and the early 2000s, they had those doors like separating, like in their house, like my parents' house, they had those doors separating both rooms. So when my dad walked in there and said, Tina, time to get up, time to go to work, when he said that, he then turned and walked back out. But my spirit, I seen him from my spirits on the ceiling. I seen him walk in there. And in my mind, I'm like, please get up, wake up, get back in your body. And at this point, I thought I was dead because my spirit was up there on the ceiling. So when I finally was able to get back into my body, it took a few minutes and I was like, what the fuck just happened to me? Like, I knew that wasn't no regular dream. Like, that wasn't even normal because I heard the footsteps running around the coffee table. And I knew in my mind at that time, my spirit was hovering up there. I said, please get up, get up. I'm telling myself, wake up, get up. It's going to choke you when it gets over here. When it got to me, when it got to my body on the couch, because my parents had hardwood floors, so I could hear it. I could hear his footsteps running around the coffee table. When it got over there, he grabbed me by the neck and started choking. When my dad came in there, that's when it stopped. But it took a few minutes for my spirit to get back in my body. I sat there on the side of the couch. I sat up, and then after a few minutes, I was like, what the hell just happened? But I'm like, that was no regular dream because when I'm having a nightmare or a bad dream, I can wake up after a few minutes. I'm like, I don't like how this dream going. Let me wake up. And you can wake in a regular dream. But to make sure that I wasn't tripping, I said, let me go back there. I went to my parents' room. I knocked on the door. When I opened the door, Daddy had on a red T-shirt. I said, did you just come in there and tell me time to get up, got to go work? He's like, yeah, because you're going to be late. You need to be up right now and get ready to go to work. So he had on exactly what I just seen him when my spirit was on the ceiling. Now, I'm going to tell y'all like this. When those spirits come in the room, your spirit, you are a spirit first. You are a spirit you are a spiritual being having a physical experience. You're no different than the spirits that are outside of you, except for you inhabit flesh and blood.
Body. Yes.
So when a demon tries to take over your body, it's because it needs your body to act on the things that it cannot do spiritually. It needs a physical body in order to do that. But you have a physical body. But if you open up your spirit through whatever you're doing, whether it's transcendental meditation, whether you're trying to reach out and have astral projection and lucid dreaming and witchcraft and all that other shit, when you do that, you're opening your spirit up to be possessed. So don't do it. Don't do it. It's not a good thing. Those are demons that come in during sleep paralysis. There's people on YouTube who try to teach videos and stuff like that to teach you how to do this. It's not a good thing. Richard, real quick, people talk about the silver cord that's attached to your body during astral projection and sleep paralysis.
Once that is cut, you're dead.
Really?
Once that is, that's your link. The scriptures talk about the inmost part of your belly. That's where your spirit man resides, right? The innermost part of your belly, right? And people talk about your navel string. They don't understand how serious that is. So once you move, once you put, okay. You know, and everything. I hit astral projection. Yeah. You see, there's always a stage of deception when they lure you in, and after they have you, then you start to see a difference. You know, so it's always be a sweet stage first. Okay? So let me call it the honeymoon stage, when they honeymoon in here. But when it's time to get to do some serious stuff, that is when things will change. Some people don't have the luxury of a honeymoon stage in the supernatural realm when they get visited by demons and these ascended masters. They just go into the shock and the horror of what the intention is. You know?
There's a lot of people who believe in ancestor spirits. Are ancestor spirits really demons or familiar spirits like the
They
Bible talks about?
the scriptures call them familiar spirits or demons. These are demons attached to to your generations, and they will come up as your friend, your father, your mother, um, past relatives and stuff like that to deceive. And when they have you, scenario change. They go from being peaceful and nice to being aggressive and frightening and scary and all these kind of things. All kind of bizarre crazy. That is all part of initiation into the occult that people need to be aware of.
So those
It's not
spirits, when they come to you in the form of your dead relatives, so they're coming for you to start having contact with them in order for you. Is that opening up a doorway into your life? And so when you say initiation into the occult, can you explain that?
initiation into the world of witchcraft, into their realm. Right, but that is initiation. That is all initiation processes. When you're talking to witch doctors and people who into the dark sciences and stuff like that, they tell you they tell you about the demons. They tell you about the spirits and them. You know, only had to come to Trinidad, you know.
Well,
Only had to come to-
no, I
because
asked this because a lot of people don't realize, because when that happened to me, when I was initiated into witchcraft, it was because you cannot deal with shamans and people who, and I know there'd probably be people who watch this video after the fact, whoever wasn't present tonight for this live presentation, people will probably attack it because they will say, well, you can't be just initiated, you have to do certain rituals, and you have to, like, that's not the case. And like when I dealt with the African people who I went to Nashville with, when I had dealt with a spirit that had been put on me by a Native American shaman, I realized that there were things that I was doing that were unnatural, that were not, that were strange, and they basically let me know it was a marine spirit that had been put into me. And then when I found out other things that I had been doing even since my teenage years, they were saying that this spirit has been with you for several years. So
yeah,
I already had an open doorway into that. So when you say
right.
initiating yourself into witchcraft, and I told this person, I said, "Well, no, I've never performed any rituals. I never have made any devotion or vow or whatever of whatever." As far as which, and this guy, I don't know if a lot of you have ever heard of Earthquake Kelly on YouTube or not, but Earthquake Kelly used to be a powerful witch or warlock within witchcraft, and I think he was from, I don't know if he was from Trinidad or if he was from Haiti. I cannot remember right now, but he even talked about the fact that he had the ability to astral travel, astral project, and even to shape shift into different creatures and beings in order to go into people's house and plant different things of witchcraft on them. Now, gets real deep, and Richard understands this when people talk about taking away your star or taking away your light or
Your
whatever that is.
destiny. They
Yeah,
snatch up
so
your
that's
destiny.
real. People in Richard's country, in the Caribbean and Trinidad and Africa, they understand this stuff, but I don't. It's just not taught here. That stuff is covered up. They don't want you to know it. So when I tell y'all, when it comes into like the spiritual realm, when it comes into witchcraft, all that kind of stuff, I'm bigger and I'm deeper than just Dogman and Bigfoot. I've been in this since like way back in like the early 2000s when I got to research for witchcraft, the Illuminati, Skull and Bones, alien abduction. All that stuff has a tie into the occult and witchcraft and demonic possession. All that stuff, and you want to leave it alone. When you start
Even
exposing stuff
even
like that,
dogmen, even
even
dogmen, even
yeah,
dogmen, Bigfoot, they are the protectors. They are the protectors and the guardians of the covens. Witches have their covens deep in the forest, right? And in order for people, remember, it's esoteric movements. Um, Dogmen hunt. They have their families, right? They have their packs and stuff like that. They're like normal animals. They have some people who shapeshift into them, right? When you talk about different types of dogmen, that is actually what you're getting into. But when you talk about the dogmen, the same dogmen that David talk about in the Bible, or the land like men, these creatures that have been made by from the Nephilim, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a purpose. It's not just to hunt and scare people, you know. They are the protectors of evil. They
Mm-hmm.
guard they guard also the entrances to the Nephilims and to the Middle Earth, right? They guard these places, you
They
know.
guard these places.
Oh yeah, they guard them. They got covens for when they're having rituals and human sacrifices and other sacrifices and stuff like that. They guard them, they protect them,
And, you know,
right?
because I've heard people say before, and like you don't hear this very often, but every blue moon you'll hear stories of like a few encounters that I heard, and during I don't know what show I was listening to, but it was a few times when I actually heard people talking about the fact that they were doing witchcraft rituals and dogmen actually showed up.
Yep, yep.
So when it comes to this, like all I'm trying to tell y'all, like for you, like I said before, you can take this with a grain of salt. I'm coming from the perspective of an investigative journalist. So when I share these shows with you and I talk about anything on my show, you don't have to agree with it. You can keep scrolling or not watch it at all. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to let y'all know that these things are all intertwined. Alien abduction, all that stuff. If you look at Dogman, if you look at some of the cases that are killing these animals, they're killing. If you, it's so much. I'm at 2 hours and 20 minutes right now. I'm gonna get ready to shut this down. I'm gonna have Richard back again, and I'm gonna have JW back again as well. But I'm gonna let y'all know right now when it comes down to this, this is way bigger than just Dogman and Bigfoot. Because
Oh yeah,
when you look at alien abduction, and you look at cattle mutilations, and you look at what's done to the body, and they can't explain why there's no blood dripping out of the body or why these cattle were killed, but then the tongue or the eyes or different organs of the body were removed. You look at that, and then in some dogman killings and stuff like that, they have like slaughtered like 10, 15, 20 chickens or cattle out there, but they just took the organs out. So then you got to look at when you talk about alien abduction, and when you look at alien abduction, and they are doing experiments and they doing stuff with the reproductive organs of women, taking the semen from men, they're having sex with women, which is, I guess, if you look at that as demonic possession, then you can look at the succubus. If you look at it from the man standpoint, then that's the incubus. But it's taking the semen and it's taking the eggs.
eggs.
They're having sex, and that is the exact same thing that the Nephilim were doing in old times. They still doing the same thing today. Nothing new under the sun. So I'm telling y'all, it's bigger than you can even wrap your mind around. And so for those of you who are not Christian, you don't have to be Christian. But it's spiritual and supernatural, whether you want to agree with it or not. You
Yep,
can't rationalize it. So just because you don't believe in the Bible, just because you don't believe in Christianity, that doesn't mean that you got all the answers. Answer it, explain it. And in your own rational mind, explain it and make it make sense. There's no way humanly possible that it makes sense, but only spiritually and supernatural. You can come up with
that's
a
right.
human experience or explanation for it, create it. So
Well said.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now who are watching this live right now. If you're not a part of my group is Crypto on Facebook. It's Crypto Normal Encounters with B Moss. If any of y'all who are here right now that's in my group, Marquetta or anybody else that's still here listening right now, if you can go over and copy the link from the group and share it over here in the live real quick, then share it in the live. And then we will also share the live. We're going to share it across both places, Facebook and YouTube. But I'm going to have both of these guys back again. Like I said, I have talked to the guy who was supposed to be with me tonight, and he's a friend. I don't know what happened, but sometimes I think God blocks people, and y'all can say whatever you want to say. God blocks people because who's here right now is who God wanted here right now. This has worked out the way it was supposed to because JW, he's so top secret. He don't want to come out of the closet. He work in a position where he's not supposed to be talking about none of this stuff. He got to stay while he's not on camera. He came on for a few minutes and cut his camera off. Y'all understand that there's a stronger force behind the scenes when it comes to stuff. If y'all were there when I interviewed the exorcist on my show within the Facebook group, because I want y'all to understand, even though this makes video number 4 right now as far as YouTube is concerned. But this is not interview number 4 for me. This is like interview, like at this point, like interview number 40. But most of my live shows are in the group. If you're in my group, the shows, if you want to see some of the old shows, I have Greg Yo, Scott Carpenter, Jody Cook. I got some of the big names in the field, Jeff Nadoni, Josh. Those shows are in the group under guides, right at the top of the page, right underneath the members. If y'all want to see those shows, some of those people, since I wasn't on YouTube at the time, I will be bringing them back and having them live on YouTube again. So y'all keep tuning in. There will be a part two with Easy Designs, Mr. Richard, and there will be also, I will be talking to JW because he's going to bring up some stuff as well. And I'm going to also have Marquetta back on. And I want to just thank all of you. Let me see. I want to thank all of you for showing up tonight. Y'all are wonderful. Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom, Carlito, thank you. D. Robinson, thank you for showing up tonight. Belujo, thank you so much for showing up tonight. Y'all, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Share this in other groups. Share it everywhere you go because I'm trying to get the word out. I'm trying to get the news out, and I'm going to discuss all type of stuff. I had Richard on tonight. My intention tonight was to discuss giants and Nephilim. We're still going to discuss that, but when I come back, because tonight I kind of wasn't really prepared, because my guest tonight, he's kind of more of an authority and he has more information on that. And I brought up some stuff, and I was going to kind of get into it. Then when I'm seeing Easy Designs, Richard show up tonight, I said, okay, Richard got some deep stuff, and I knew he would be able to help me out with this. And I really appreciate JW for showing up too, because y'all didn't let me fail. Y'all didn't leave me hanging, and I really appreciate that. Richard, I'm going to contact you tomorrow. You said you didn't have Messenger. Thank you for putting Messenger back on there, Richard. Don't take it off again because I'm going to contact you tomorrow.
No problem.
Oh, let me unmute JW. JW, are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Thank you so much for showing up tonight. Y'all saved me tonight. I love y'all.
Oh, anytime, B. Hey,
Yeah.
Richard, nice meeting you, man. We got many more discussions.
I'm
Many
gonna
more
get y'all.
Yes,
discussions.
bro.
I'm
Yes,
gonna get
yes,
y'all on
yes.
the group chat tomorrow. I'm gonna get y'all on the group chat tomorrow, and both of
Oh,
y'all and
good.
everybody who watching right now. I went live tonight, but I don't usually do tonight 2 nights in a row. Friday nights is my night. My original guest had to reschedule, so I had another guest who also whatever happened, it was supernaturally ordained. I have who's supposed to be on here tonight. Tomorrow night, y'all stay tuned, be here, and I will post the link in the group and here tomorrow. But I will have Coonbo Baker, the OG in the cryptid Bigfoot field. He will be my guest tomorrow night on the show. And with that being said, everybody, y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Nighty
All
night.
right.